Cool, I assume I'm live. Right, hello. I'm Froob. I run the Yakuza games. Hello. I've almost died to Nagamo in this tutorial, don't worry about it. This is actually kind of interesting because this is like slight speed tech, because the way that Yakuza 6 works is... I'll talk about it a bit more in depth later, but basically it caches the map. So by starting inside of the fight, we're actually going to save like 40 seconds here at the start, which is kind of ridiculous. So I'll tell you when we're going to start time. I'm going to bring time up myself so I can tell how I'm doing. I saw as well that we hit the incentives for both Rugby Baby and the Aim on fight afterwards. The Aim on fight is all set up, ready to go. I have saves ready for that. And yeah, that's basically it. So we're going to start the run in 3, 2, 1, go. So again, weirdly, by actually having already been in the tutorial, this literally is going to save us 40 seconds. This first cutscene would usually take us to about the 44-second mark to load, but because we actually were in the actual tutorial in the same place that the cutscenes take place, the map is already cached and already loaded. Therefore, we get into the start of this fight at about 20-ish seconds, whereas if we didn't, it'd get here about 50 to 1 minute. So we're going to start off by doing the usual Yakuza tutorial. We're going to knock Nagamo about a bit. That's the wrong tutorial. I'm glad he did his full combo because I messed that up. So you got the usual. You have to guard, you have to dodge, etc. We're going to have to lock onto the enemy. I want to punch him if possible this direction. We've got plenty of time to do that. Full combo. He always does dodge around there, especially after I missed earlier. He's going to dodge during this combo. That's good. He dodged into it. Now we need to use a heat move, so we need to grab any kind of weapon around and then just hit him with it. Please don't break the electric scooter, because I'm going to need that. Thank you. It didn't, but it did break the bike, which I could have done a little extra damage with, so that's a shame. But we're just going to use the electric scooter, which I'm going to miss because that can happen sometimes. The Dragon Engine is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Where did I even get that bolt from? Please hit Nagamo, thank you very much. That happens. I wish I understood why that happens. That just happens. We call it Dragon Engine shenanigans. This Yakuza 6 is basically the first Yakuza game in the new engine, which is called the Dragon Engine. This is an engine that is only found currently in chronological order of release order: 6, Kiwami 2, Judgment, and the upcoming 7 / Like a Dragon in the West, which will be out hopefully before the end of this year. But the Dragon Engine is this whole new engine, very physics-based, can have a lot of ragdolls, as you're going to see, potentially at points. And in general, shenanigans like that, where one moment you'll be holding a weapon, and then the next minute you won't be holding anything at all. I had a practice run the other day where this weapon I held in my hand literally vanished out of existence. Cost me like 20 seconds. Brilliant, brilliant engine. I genuinely love it. But yeah, this engine has a few shenanigans. But essentially, this is Yakuza 6. This is technically the last of the Yakuza games for Kiryu. This is basically Kiryu's last game. So yeah, we're starting at the end. But basically what the very start was, what you saw at the start, was a kind of flash forward in time. The tutorial was a boss fight that we won't redo, but it basically takes place in the future. I'll point out when we get there. We get there in about 20-30 minutes, not that long. This run's undergone quite a few differences over the last couple of years. This run is very, very sadistic. You'll understand what I mean by that when we get there. But it's undergone a few more... It's undergone a few more... what's that word that I'm looking for? Optimizations, that's the word. I've gone through a few more optimizations thanks to Lilygram picking up the run as well, tightening up the early game a lot after I had a really good idea and then didn't apply the good idea. So thanks to Lilygram for pointing out that I was being stupid. So you'll see during this run that we go way faster than we used to, which is nice. It's going to be very similar if you saw the Yakuza 6 run for ESA together 2 months ago, question mark? I don't remember when it was. But basically, plot-wise, what's happened is, after the flash forward, we find that, with the flash forward, we find that Kiryu is looking after a baby. We don't know whose baby, but Kiryu's looking after a baby. And then we basically go back to present time. So we go back in time to the events at the end of Yakuza 5, which I won't talk about. But essentially, you get the ending cutscene of Yakuza 5. The things that happen at the end of Yakuza 5 then get kind of expanded on. We see the fallout from that. Kiryu goes to jail again, because they need somebody to kind of be the fall guy for the events of Yakuza 5. And essentially, when Kiryu gets out of prison 3 years later, his adopted daughter, we'll call her Haruka, she has gone missing. So basically, there was a whole bunch of tabloid papers rolling out rumors that because he was in jail, Kiryu and Haruka took over an orphanage back in Yakuza 3. And essentially, the tabloids are all, they're secretly raising kids to be members of the Yakuza. That's a whole load of crap. So Kiryu's now going back to our old haunt in Kamurocho to see if Haruka's been here. He initially contacted somebody called Akiyama, who works there at a loan office called Sky Finance. He's gone missing. So we're now going to go and have a look. You saw that I use a vending machine there. The vending machines are useful in multiple different ways. You can get a lot of different, basically, drinks from them. All of these drinks have different effects on them. With the drink that we just got, Green Dakara, that is a sprint drink. Sprint drink, if you get any kind of sprint drink, there's basically 2 different kinds. There's Poseidon Power and Green Dakara. Poseidon Power is the one we used to get, but Green Dakara actually has a way longer lifespan to it, so it lasts way longer. Also, we're just going to come in here, we're going to get some luxury yakiniku bentos. You only technically need the one. The rest are for safety strats and for marathon safety, because again, this run gets a little bit sadistic. You'll find out. So, with this Green Dakara, we're going to be using this to basically run all the way back to where we went up to... where we went around the back to Sky Finance before, but once we've gone through a couple of fights. So we've got another tutorial here where you have to learn about throwing weapons, grabbing weapons. You don't actually have to complete this tutorial. You just have to go through it and just take care of the enemies. You have to do 1 level up here, so obviously we're going to pick attack. Like, it doesn't make that much of a difference, it's like 2 points, but obviously, you know, it's attack. It should be self-explanatory that attack gives you more damage, HP gives you more defense, HP gives you more HP, defense allows you to take more hits. We don't know what evasion does. I think it's how long you have on your frames when you use quick step, but I'm not 100% certain about that. And then you have heat gauge, which is the amount of damage. Actually, it's not the amount of damage. It can lead into the amount of damage you get and the amount of orbs you can get for your heat gauge. It works a little differently in Yakuza 6. It's in previous Yakuza games when you increase your heat capabilities, it usually increases like the amount of heat orbs you have or like a heat bar that you've got. In this, it just gives you access to the skills that you can get to get that. So it's a little different, but it still works essentially in the same way. We just won't see any tangible benefits until we actually get those upgrades. So we've gone around asking the people we know in Kamurocho if they've seen Akiyama. And Akiyama has been hiding from the Sayao Triad. These are the Sayao Triad. At the very start of the game, this area that we're in at the minute is called Little Asia. It was... I should have left that guy till last. I need everybody to stand together. Ah, Duo, you always walk away. Come here. Come on. I need to go down. This is why you really want the sign rather than having to pick up one of the pipes, because it takes a lot longer. But essentially Little Asia burned down at the very start of this game, and it was taken over by the Sayao Triad, who is essentially a Chinese mafia. We'll get into more on them later, but the Sayao Triad, they really want to see Akiyama for very nice reasons, because they're very nice people. Yeah. So Akiyama's on the run. That's a very bad fight spawn. Yep, that's going to have to get caught. That's a little unlucky. That's very unlucky, actually. So I'm going to have to use the sign. I am getting absolutely bothered. So, certain Yakuza games... Oh, that's real bad. Excuse me. Ooh, this is awful. So certain Yakuza games will... Certain Yakuza games will heal you after every chapter. 6 doesn't. That's one of the reasons why this run is sadistic. There's other reasons as well. Is that seriously another fight spawn? Wow. Please get around to the front of this vending machine. Are you kidding me right now? Dragon Engine at its Dragon Engine at its absolute finest, where literally it wouldn't let me walk around the vending machine, and then it also despawned the weapon that was in my hand. This run is optimized for 0 optional fights, and we've had, what, 3 at this point? Not great. Really not great. This is some very, very bad luck. So, gonna take care of these guys. Please stand together. Liao usually doesn't decide to stand together, but it's fine. So, this is a member of the Tojo clan. The Tojo clan are the big Yakuza clan group in Eastern Japan, over in, obviously, the Tokyo area. This is not a good fight spawn, but we should have enough time to be able to despawn it by running to the vending machines. Seriously? Seriously, Dragon Engine? So that's the other problem with the Dragon Engine, is that confirmation prompts sometimes decide not to work. So you saw that I had the confirmation prompt for the vending machine, and it just decided no. Okay. This is, it's not good. This is, really not good! Yikes. This is, I'm very glad my estimate is 3 hours, because, put it this way, my PB is a 240, and I was hoping to get, with obviously cutscene included, somewhere around 245. We're probably already looking at 250. But anyway, the guy we helped was a guy from the Tojo clan. Kiryu used to be the 4th chairman of the Tojo. He basically said that he's seen Akiyama around this park here. This homeless man is protecting the way to the sewers. We're going to feed him off with a luxury bento. Don't get those every day. And we're going to find out if Akiyama really is down here. Now, the thing is, Akiyama is down here. Unfortunately, Kiryu, bit dense, doesn't realize that he's been followed by the Sayao Triad, who Akiyama's trying to hide from. Say hello to Ed. I love this man. He is amazing. So we're going to take care of the ads if we can, before we take care of Ed. It doesn't matter if we transition to his second phase here. At this point, Ed is only 1 hit from going into his final phase because of the damage we're getting from the CC Lemon. Not great. I'm going to risk letting Akiyama take care of Ed. So this QT will always get him to 1 HP. With every fight in Yakuza 6, you have to see every fight's mid-fight QTE before you can end the fight. There's an exception to that rule. I don't like that my weapon also disappeared. I should have 1 hit left on it. What's happening? There we go. With every fight, you have to see every mid-fight QTE. So basically, you'll get like a QTE like that, or you'll get like a transition into like a second phase, or they get stronger or something like that. There's an exception to this rule. We'll talk about the exception to the rule when we get there. But that's pretty much a solid lock in that you can't finish fights until we've seen basically the mid-fight QTE. So now what we're going to do is we are going to head over to Toto Hospital. We got a phone call from our friend Date, who is a police detective, who says that they found Haruka. She has been in a hit-and-run accident, and the other surprising thing is she has a baby. There you go. But we got a little bit of time here, so if you've got time for any messages, now's a good time.
Yeah, no donations as of yet. Still plenty of time to get those in. Just like to give a shout out to the Red Pandaren who subscribed with Twitch Prime. Like I said, just a reminder to everyone else, if you do have Amazon Prime, you have a free sub. Feel free to use it with us. All the money from it goes to Crisis. So if you could do that, that would be lovely, and we'd appreciate it. So thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for catching this run at this time. Depends where you are. It's almost 3 AM for me, so prime Yakuza hours. So something I didn't talk about earlier is when you get drinks from the vending machine, most cutscenes will erase the drink, so you have to drink it for a cutscene. This one doesn't. Now, I'm really hoping here that this doesn't load. So the other problem with Yakuza 6 is that it has some load problems, and thankfully not this time. This is one of the big reset points of the run for certain runners like myself, because for some reason, the game doesn't fully load that man's path here, and if it doesn't fully load his path, he'll stop at the crossroads before this one, and he won't move until the game finishes loading. And that can be anywhere, that could be like up to 30 seconds, so it's just random. That car doesn't have a driver, don't worry about it. It's one of those newfangled GPS cars that just drive on their own. So, that guy who was watching us was also part of the Tojo clan. He had been ordered to keep an eye on us because whenever Kiryu comes back in town, trouble usually follows. We're going to run through Little Asia because we have to take a taxi to Tojo HQ. Can I get past them? Yes, good. That's one of the good spawns because it's not too close to this exit. And the way that fight aggro works in the Yakuza series, Yakuza 0 onwards, is that if you have a group of enemies that are aggroed onto you, a second group of enemies cannot aggro onto you. So usually, not all the time, as it didn't here, but usually when you go towards this taxi here, you can have a fight spawn at the crossroads next to Shangri-La, and we're going to Shangri-La later on. But because we had that group of enemies aggroed onto us from Little Asia, if there was a fight spawn there, it wouldn't have aggroed onto us. So we would have been able to just walk straight past them. So basically, in certain Yakuza runs, we can use fight aggro in quite positive ways. Like, sometimes we'll go out of our way for an extra second to be able to walk past, obviously, a fight spawn so that we don't accidentally get into, like, a fight and lose, like, 10 seconds. Like, there's what has already happened, like, 3 or 4 times already. So, but essentially, we go to Tojo HQ, we see that Daigo Dojima is not around again. Surprise! Daigo Dojima is in jail, alongside Majima and Saejima. Surprise. And basically, there are 2 people, basically. There's one person running the Tojo currently. I believe his name is Sugai. I might be wrong on that. And then he has his kind of Captain Lieutenant Somiya. You'll be seeing Somiya real soon. These guys are called Justice, spelled incorrectly on purpose. Don't worry about them. You'll see them again a little later, unfortunately. Don't worry about them for now. So, we're hitting the streets to find some info. Even though we have to go to that taxi right now, we actually have to go up here to trigger a kind of mini tutorial. We meet an NPC who shows off this thing called Troubler. Troubler is an app that basically allows you to do a little bit of side content. There could be like a bomb on top of the Millennium Tower, or there could be a place on fire that you have to find the fire extinguisher for. Little things like that. They don't impact the run in any way, so we're going to ignore them. I see that fight spawn down there. So there's a fight spawn at the end of the road. It should get despawned when we go and get the CC Lemon from this. Obviously, you can probably guess every time we get our attack buff drink, there's going to be a fight. So most of the time you'll see that I'm looking at the minimap as well, just in case. Certain Dragon Engine games have problematic fight spawns at this gateway, judgment cough. But 6 is quite nice. 6 actually spaces out its fight spawns quite a lot. More so than both K2 and especially Judgment. So that's actually pretty nice. So we get here and Child Protection Services are trying to take Haruka's baby Haruto away. Kiryu, having been an orphan and knowing that Haruka was an orphan, doesn't want that to happen to the baby. So he's going to take the baby. And unfortunately, the only person who can stop him is Akiyama. Poor Akiyama. So we're going to grab this. The baby's sleeping in the back, by the way. Just going to grab this table, hit Akiyama twice, and... that's Akiyama. Which, hilariously enough, even Akiyama at this point is like, it's not fair that I have to fight you like this because I know you're at your angriest and I know you're at your strongest, which... yup. Yup. So then Kiryu takes Haruto, goes to the convenience store and realizes, I don't know how to be a dad. Stage left, enter Date, who teaches Kiryu how to be a dad despite the fact that he wasn't exactly there for his daughter and also let Haruka get kidnapped like 3 times in Yakuza 1. But let's ignore that. At least he knows the proper food to give to a baby. So... Date and the police have managed to recover Haruka's phone, and with Haruka's phone, they have found that she took a picture not too long ago in a town called Onomichi over in Hiroshima, and that's where we're going to head to next. So this is where the run starts to differ a little bit from before. We're going to be grabbing a couple of upgrades when we get here, using the experience that we got earlier. I'm also being very, very... mindful to not forget a certain item that I have been forgetting in practice runs lately. I know exactly what I'm going to do so that I don't forget it. Also, I should mention, most people, when they do runs, like, you know, sometimes they make it harder on themselves. Sometimes they do blindfold strats. Sometimes they try new strats. Me, I burned 3 fingers on my left hand. I did it like 3 hours ago because I was a little silly. I took my food out of the oven and then decided for some reason to take my oven gloves off. I really wish I knew why. It was not my smartest of plays, but here we are, I suppose. So we got a couple of attack level ups there, but we also got combo speed up because combo speed makes us attack faster, surprise. And then we also got heat actions up. Heat actions basically increase the damage that we do with our heat actions. We're now going to head here to this bar. This is Bar Kiyomi, with the mana Kiyomi. And inside here is Nagamo. You'll have seen Nagamo a little earlier. He's the guy we fought in the tutorial. Yes, we're fighting him in the exact same place. This is still pre the start of the game. He doesn't like us, for some reason. So, we're just going to grab this bike. I'm going to try and push Nagamo towards the other bike down there. This'll do. Also, that's good. So enemies in the Dragon Engine, whenever they stand up, will usually store a guard or a dodge. So what you want to do is very specifically wait until they either try to attack you or until they guard or dodge. Or what you can do is kind of bait out by attacking early. Sometimes they get stunned like that. We'll go into our Extreme Heat. 2, 3, 4. Extreme Heat full combo, it's fine. That's the good one. That's the end of Nagamo. Pretty decent. So, essentially, it's much like the tutorial where if you can use the electric scooter, it works quite well. But basically, every boss, pretty much every boss, after their mid-fight QTE, goes into their EX mode, where basically they have more attack, more defense as well, which is a bit more important. We want to do as much damage before we get them into their EX mode. And it's obviously after the mid-fight QTE, so basically, essentially when their HP gets to the midpoint, you know, that's when it's going to be, but not always. We're grabbing an item here. We grab that safe key and we're going to open this safe here. This is going to give us access to our first item. This is called the Bloody Fundoshi. We're going to equip that in a second. Not yet. Get the item first. Don't forget it this time, moron. Almost did it again. I'm going to go into my menu here, because you can open your menu a little quicker when you're in the crawl space. Going to equip the Bloody Fundoshi. We're going to get Sprint level 3. Then we're going to get a couple of... No, we're going to get Dash Attack. Don't you dare forget that. And then we're going to get a couple of attacks. And then as we leave, we're going to go over to this vending machine and we're going to grab a Shoryu beer. Now, we've obviously been grabbing CC Lemon for most of our attack buffs. The Shoryu beer, as you can see in the top left, is different because the CC Lemon operates on... The CC Lemon has more damage, but it operates on a time period. So, because it operates on a time period, essentially you only have a certain amount of time that you have that buff active. But as you can see at the top left, because we use Shoryu beer, we have a number 24. That number is the amount of hits. So we're going to push Ino here. We're just trying to push him a bit further. You can push him a tiny bit in that cutscene. We walk faster. It doesn't look like we are, but we are actually using our stamina here. We're sprinting. And with this, we can push Ino a little bit faster. By pushing him a little bit faster, we can obviously get him to the next point. We can't go over there early because we can't hit that trigger. So, while it looks a bit weird that we're pushing our baby into him, we're just going to push him over there to make things go faster. And unfortunately, coming up next is a bit that everybody loves. We call it Shake the Baby because if you don't know, with the DualShock, you have gyro controls, and this game, for some reason, decided it needed a mini game that had implemented gyro controls, which are hypersensitive for reasons unknown. Don't know why. And essentially, what's going to happen here is Haruto is going to cry after 2 specific periods of time. What we're going to do is we're going to be actually, for the very first time, implementing Baby Skip, where instead of doing Shake the Baby, we're going to be skipping Shake the Baby by save quitting out of the game at 2 exact points, and that saves a decent chunk of time. It's like somewhere between like 10 to 15 seconds, I believe. So we're going to go to the barbershop here. The barbershop, we're looking for milk for Haruto. I'm going to go into my pause menu and unpause. You'll see at the bottom left that the save icon is spinning. After that has done that, it is auto-saved. I keep forgetting there's another left button prompt there. Now that it's auto-saved, it basically Yakuza 6 was the first Yakuza game that had auto-save. It's why it asks you to create a save slot at the start of the game. Because we saved it at the top of the saves, the very first save will be saved exactly where the autosave happened, and then when the game loads back in, and thankfully, obviously, as we said earlier with the tutorial, it caches the map, so it isn't actually that long, we'll be right here, and Haruto's timer for Shake the Baby is now gone. Or at least it's now been pushed back. Interesting enough as well, the barber closed its shutter, which it's not supposed to do. But that's a nice little effect of save quitting here. So we're going to go over to Kiyomi's bar. We're going to ask Kiyomi whether she knows anybody that has milk. So I'm going to run in here. I'm going to run around the corner real quick. Save quit out. There we go. And this will get rid of the second timer for the second Shake the Baby section. So this basically means we've skipped both of the Shake the Babies if this is done correctly. Which again saves a tiny bit of time. And I can see via my thumbnail that it's at least saved, otherwise we'd be going back about 30 seconds. But yeah, every time, basically the game auto-saves when you do quite a lot of things. So basically when you go in your pause menu and come out of it, you basically when you go in your pause menu and come out of it, you automatically save. If you like spend skill points, you save. If you buy things, you save. Come out of the fight, you save, etc. Usually it'd be there where the second Shake the Baby happens, but again, because we basically restarted the timer, it's not there. So we get to the barbershop, and there's this random Yakuza who's drunk and relieving himself on the wall. So what we're going to do is, this guy actually has one of the highest dodge rates in the game. He's insane. We're going to run past him, grab this flower pot, and yeah, with the flower pot. And you can see with that our 24 attacks have gone down to 23. So we now have 23 attacks left. The entire reason that we got the Shoryu beer is because whenever we're holding Haruto like this, despite the fact that Kiryu has his drinking arm free, he cannot purchase or consume any drinks from the vending machines. So basically what we're going to do is with Shoryu beer, and with the fact that the Shoryu beer itself actually stays around for another 23 hits, it's not time-based. And it also doesn't get erased when going between chapters, which is very, very useful, because CC Lemon does get erased when going between chapters. Actually, it might get erased when going through chapters, I don't remember. Because we're not going through chapters here. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But either way, the attack buff we need for this part. Now, the nice thing about this part is all of the enemies are actually in set positions. If you look on the mini-map at the bottom left, you can see those 3 red triangles. Those are enemies there. You'll see there's going to be some on the right. You can actually see them over there. Basically, you have to get close to these enemy spawns to actually trigger them, which is nice because the route that we're taking doesn't have any enemy spawns at all. Now, you saw that there were cars that were moving along the bottom road of Onomichi there. We are going to be hoping for a little bit of luck later on. With those cars that go by, you can actually get really lucky and get a random taxi spawn, and obviously taxis are your fast travel. If you get a taxi when coming out of Kiryu's apartment while holding Haruto, you could literally save something between like 30 to 45 seconds because, as you can see here, you just don't run as fast when you're holding Haruto. I think it's more like 30 seconds rather than 45. But it's an insane amount of time. It's an absolutely huge amount of time. This road also has a taxi spawn on it, but we can only really utilize that at one place in the run? Yeah, one place in the run. But again, all these fight spawns are still fixed. Now, to pay Ino back for him lending us a house for us to stay in, we're going to play baseball. Massive quotation marks around the word baseball. So, Nagamo still doesn't like us. And here we go. You'll notice the guy on the left as well. If you ever watched the movie Battle Royale, you'll recognize him. You'll recognize him, alright. So all we're going to do is going to run back, dodge Nagamo's fastball, hopefully get both Yuta and Matsunaga. Oh, I got lucky that that didn't knock the trash can out of my hand. Nice. Not too bad. Not too bad. I could have done a lot worse. So, the main aim here is to not get hit by Nagamo's fastball when you're holding the trash can, because if that happens, he can actually knock it out of your hands, and then you lose your one-hit kill against him. So, that's unfortunate. But yeah, you'll recognize another famous actor. If you like Battle Royale, you'll recognize another famous actor at some point during this. Won't spoil the surprise. You'll see him in like 10-15 minutes. So we now need to head back to Kiyomi's bar. So there's not much going on. So again, if you've got any messages, now's a good time.
Still nothing on the donations, unfortunately. Still hoping for those. Just gonna give a quick shout out to Ragnar907. They subscribed with Twitch Prime, which all of you are very welcome to do. If I got a bit of time, I just want to plug some donation incentives that haven't really got much going to them yet.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm gonna plug my own here. The Girl and the Robot on Sunday that has a outfit choice incentive, which currently has nothing to it, and I'd rather not pay for myself. We've got Final Fantasy X that has 3 different naming incentives going for it, and that's nearly 12-hour run, so it might be well worth getting one in for that. You can name Bahamut, you can name Tidus, or you can name Valfor. And if you're like me, you'll donate to name Tidus Yuna. We've also got a dance along for Fire Emblem 3 Houses. That's a $150 incentive, so best get the money in for that. Also, another one that stuck out to me was Ring Fit Adventure, which is just an interesting run I'd like to see. You can choose whether that's run in English or Japanese. And at that, I think I'll pass it back to you for a bit, Froob.
Thank you. I can attest to Ring Fit. I've been doing Ring Fit myself since it came out. Very, very good. Speaking of Ring Fit, we're going to equip our second piece of equipment here, the Bloody Binding. Look on the right-hand side of the screen. Did you see how our defense is gone from... Our defense has gone from its base 100 to 50. So we've cut our defense in half. And despite that, during this run, we're not going to get any HP or defense to supplement for that loss. So basically, despite the fact that we are on easy, because it's the quickest way to get through the game, endgame bosses in Yakuza 6 can free-shot you. That's why this run is sadistic. I adore this run for all the wrong reasons, because this run can go horrifically wrong at literally any moment. Master Zoe. Remember earlier when I said there was an exception to the mid-fight QTE rule? Here's your exception. 4, the strong version. Strong version will always be that one. I probably should have just done the heat move, but it's fine. They're usually supposed to go down in one hit. Oh no, that's when I'm in my heat mode still. That's fine. That's on me. So basically, after what happened with Master Zoe, Nagamo was taken by Master Zoe because Nagamo wouldn't take money from Kiyomi because Nagamo kind of has a thing for Kiyomi, and basically he doesn't want to take money from her as protection money, you know, Yakuza stuff. And Master Zoe being the family, Master Zoe's family being above Patriarch Hirosei's family, which Nagamo is part of, he went to make an example out of Master Zoe, and we stepped in. Now Nagamo loves us and we're best friends. That's how this works. So, as Takashiro, he's the last, well, he's not the last, but he's one of the last of the family, the Hirosei family that you haven't met yet, outside of Patriarch Hirosei. We're gonna get, nope, not sure you beer. Nope, we want the CC lemon, thank you. We're gonna hold on to this for as long as possible, because I want this to last for quite a while in this next section. It can last just enough time that we need, provided we hold on to this drink until we get to about the next story trigger. So there. I almost went a bit far, that's why I kind of had to go a bit left there. Messed up because I forgot you can't drink properly on the stairs, so whoops, happens. So here's some drunk civilians. The Yakuza. They are secretly Yakuza. They are drunk civilians of the Yomei shipbuilders. No, the Iwami shipbuilders, even. The Iwami shipbuilders are... Did you really just watch that? Insane. They're... So we'll get into much later, but yeah, as I kind of hinted at, they're Yakuza. They're not civilians. They're actually up to no good. So I'm going to go back to Kiyomi's now to go and get Haruto. Basically, everybody at this point is now seeing, you know, we're not that bad of a guy, you know, we helped them out a couple of times, blah, blah, blah. And once we get Haruto, we're going to be going back to our apartment for the evening. This is one of those times, again, where a god taxi coming down the road would be fantastic. It literally went past, I saw it, so that's some bad luck. It's completely random what cars come down the street, so you don't have an opportunity to, like, be able to, like, you can't manipulate it, but you can see it, like, it's that car right at the end of the street, not this one on the right, but that one dead ahead of us, the yellow one. There it goes. Bye-bye. My hopes and dreams for time save dashed. It's completely gone. But we're going to go back to our apartment. You actually use your stamina here, which is why we get our sprint level up. Now, the real time we want a god taxi is right now, because we have to now we have to go to the Hirosei family. The Hirosei family is basically turf, their main house. We'll be going back here quite a few times during the run, and because we're with Haruto again, a taxi would be amazing. I'm going to go on the left-hand side of the street. I don't think it's spawned just yet, but on the right-hand side of that street during the day, if you walk along there, you can get sucked into a baseball minigame. It's very reminiscent of the kind of business minigames from, say, Zero, or the side stories from, say, 5, where basically you take control of a struggling baseball team and rise them to stardom. So down to Hana no Kubo. Hana no Kubo being the closest of the taxi points, obviously. And now, unfortunately, off-screen, we're going to go and meet Patriarch Hirosei. I say unfortunately because, again, the Battle Royale references are going to come hard and strong because he is another actor from Battle Royale who goes by the name of Beat Takeshi. And you might recognize his name even if you haven't seen Battle Royale. So, we come here and we basically interrogate the family and say, you know, like, hey, here's a picture of Haruka. Have you ever seen this girl before? To which everybody responds with, haha, no, definitely not, winky face. They have. So, we're just basically going to carry on as if nothing has ever happened. We need to follow Kiyomi through this bit. We need to go to the shrine, because this is basically Masazoe's family. They're out for revenge after what happened yesterday. Kiyomi has something to say. I don't know why we couldn't have done it at the house, but apparently the shrine on the other side of town is close. It is safe, apparently, sure. You can actually walk into, like, if you see on the minimap, you can see, like, the groups of enemies. If you walk into those groups of enemies, you'll get into a fight. You can actually, like, open some different ways up. Like, you can see that group there on the top right of the minimap. We could go past them, but you can see that you can't actually skip through that bit. So, funnily enough, the fastest bit here is the actual way to go. So, this is why I wanted the CC Lemon to last. For this fight here. Hopefully they all stay together. This guy in the back usually doesn't, but being able to take out the first 4 guys before getting to him is really good. It's very exceptionally rare that you can get a one hit. You kind of need to position yourself in the middle of all of them. And that guy at the back who was called Honda this time, he's usually the problematic one that starts walking away whenever you get close to him. So, we're going to pass through this bit. On the left here is a tofu shop. And if you're playing this casually, you'll recognize a certain character who turns up there who goes by the name of Fighter. Those of you who have played Yakuza 0 and Kiwami will know exactly who I mean. And we're going to get to the shrine. We're going to hand off Haruto to Kiyomi. And then we're going to go and apologize to Matsunaga, Yuta, and Takashira for basically messing up the Masazoe family, getting them in a bit more trouble, and seeing what we can do to help out. This is a sub-story that spawns here. One of the things I didn't mention is the nice thing about one of the nice things about the Dragon engine is the fact that 95% of cutscenes in this engine are completely skippable, which makes a lot of the Yakuza runs in this engine really cool to replay, and also really good to speedrun. Certainly not like certain Yakuza games, which I'm not going to mention names, Yakuza 5. We, 5's run is rough. Although saying that, there is a Dragon Engine game that is a very, very long run, and that would be Judgment, where Judgment's run is a just over 6 hour, 10-minute run. It's long. Would you believe it? Would you believe it? Anyway, here's Takashira and Yuta. So Yuta round 2, Takashira round 1. Again, it didn't hit Yuta first. I think I know why. You want basically, Yuta has less defense than Takashira here. So you want to hit Yuta first, as you can see. Oh, that's unfortunate. Alright, I'll take that. Takashira just flew to space. Dragon engine, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good engine. Ragdolls aplenty. So we're going to go around this corner here. Usually because of that fight spawn there, it usually comes this way. So you usually have to deal with it. And we're going to chug a CC Lemon just before a whole bunch of people. The trigger is right here. That's why I didn't move. So, Masazoe round 2, yet again, much like the first fight, he is the exception to the rule. We want to beat him before his mid-fight QTE. His mid-fight QTE happens when all the enemies are dead, because his mid-fight QTE basically... Ooh, good kick. That was a very nice Masazoe fight. Very nice. His mid-fight QTE basically revives a whole bunch of enemies. Happens in both the first fight and the second fight. Beat Takeshi on the left, ladies and gentlemen. So, you'll be seeing Beat Takeshi quite a lot later on. So I look forward to that. But we're gonna head back to our apartment. Kyomi's gonna bring Haruto along. And yeah, again, now would be a good time for any messages if you've got them.
Would you believe it? We've had a donation. We have a $15 donation from Anonymous with no comment. But that donation has gone towards the Godzilla Save the Earth Kaiju Basketball, which I just had to look up what that is. And it's 3 kaijus playing basketball with a boulder in the wild. So that's now taking that to $50 out of the $100 needed to hit that incentive. So keep the donations coming in. So good. Would love to get to 1,000 before the end of this run. Just I think that would be nice. And yeah, nothing else to really plug at the minute, but I'm sure we'll have time later. So back to you, Froob.
Cool. Yeah, from one wacky Japanese series, that sounds absolutely awesome. I'd love to see that get met. So we're now gonna head over to... We got time, we've got to go gather some info. Unfortunately, we're going to go and meet somebody who goes by the name of Joe. Joe is an unfortunate soul. He's being beat up by members of a gang called Justice. If you remember back in Kamurocho about 30 odd minutes ago, we beat up some members of Justice. Here's some more. They're beating up Joe. Spelled that way on purpose. Hopefully we get the dropkick. Nice. If you get the right angle, you can take both of them down with a singular dropkick. And basically, we're going to go to this cafe that's at the top of Onomichi. Joe's going to get looked after by, I believe, his sister or his friend's sister, something like that. She's going to get taken by members of Justice to get revenge or something. I don't know. Basically, it's an introduction for this minigame. This minigame is called Clan Creator. It was first introduced in Yakuza 6. It also makes its appearance in Yakuza Kiwami 2. It's very much tower defense in Kiwami 2, but here it's more just attack the main boss and get rid of the main boss. So it's kind of you'll see what it's like. It's a top-down strategy kind of thing. There's a very quick way to do it at the start here that we're going to do. You have to take care of every enemy. We're going to do this in a very particular way. We're going to spawn in... a tutorial. Spawn in this guy first. He's a healer. We're going to get him here, because then we'll drag a few enemies in and he'll start hitting them. This guy we want to spawn here. We don't want him to go too far to aggro the boss, but we want him to aggro this guy. This guy is the problem. Really need him to be brought forward. Good. Because that guy in green will interrupt Joe. So we're now going to summon Joe. Because Joe has a skill, this one here, called the on the dropkick. What's this guy's HP? That's why we get Joe to do that. And then hopefully we take care of the enemy. For some reason, they stop attacking him for a couple of seconds. I don't know why. 417 is okay. I'll take it. Good job, everyone. So, we're now going to have to fight a few enemies from that pack, and the interesting thing is they're all color-coded in that minigame, so like yellow guys have grenades, suit guys have guns, as you can see there. There's the big lad. We're going to hopefully get a good dropkick to take care of 2 or 3 of them. We're going to focus on getting the gun guys first. In Yakuza runs... Masao almost kicked him out of the way there. In Yakuza runs, there's kind of a hierarchy tier for enemies that you want to take care of. For starting off, you want to make sure that basically the tier list is enemies that are like the most dangerous and can basically interrupt your attacks and stuff. Tier A, like the highest tier, you can probably imagine the ones to get rid of first are gun enemies. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Tier 2 is knife enemies and also stun enemies. Oh, If you're a fan of the NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestlers, those are some cameos of certain NJPW wrestlers, aka Akada the Rainmaker, Yano Toru, etc., etc. There's a couple in here. They have their theme songs as well. You also get to fight them for doing the clan creator, so that gives you an incentive to do the clan creator. It's super fun. It's actually genuinely pretty cool. And once we're done with this, we're now going to get ready for the first big set piece of the run. So we're going to get a few upgrades here. It's our next big upgrade point. We're going to get Vending Machine Drink up to level 2. We're going to get Collateral and Charge. Although I usually do that a lot differently. I usually don't get Charge until after this, but that way I can get a little extra attack. But Charge is fine. We can use Charge against the boss. But I usually defer it for like another level. Collateral is the most important thing, other than the boost vending machines, to get here. Collateral... Also, you want to make sure you hit no here, because if you hit yes to her, you lose like a minute and a half, and also she moves in the way of an actual story trigger later on. Kind of annoying. But her sub-story is based on the girl who let through time. It's pretty cool. Speaking of sub-stories based on stuff, if you ever played of Yakuza 0, all I'll say about this man on the right is Munancho hebt unast. Munancho. But basically, the collateral that we got, collateral is an attack where... Collateral's not an attack. Collateral is an attack upgrade where enemies after the first enemy you hit take extra damage. So basically, if I was to say, grab one guy and throw him into a whole bunch of other guys, you'll basically see me do an insane amount of damage. And weirdly enough, out of all the Yakuza games, Yakuza 6 and its throws are actually surprisingly broken. Like, quite nicely, actually. Because this was the first Dragon Engine game, there were some things that are weirdly broken, CC Lemon, and some things that are weirdly not. But throws, for some reason, this is pretty much the one Yakuza speedrun where throws are an actual viable, legit option to do in a fight. So that's kind of really cool. Like, it's nice to have a Yakuza run where you can just basically throw people. Beat Takeshi again, by the way. Once the cutscene loads. Hi. So, Kiyomi... We were going to meet Kiyomi at the top of the hill to have a conversation with her, and then Somiya of the Tojo turned up. And he's basically taken her to a hotel, and we're going to rescue her. So, we're going to start off by kicking those guys, because again, that's the power of collateral right there. It's not just CC Lemon. I'm going to take care of this guy because he has more HP than the other guy. One of the other things that's super strong in this game is the dash attack. So when you run and see me do that drop kick, that's the dash attack. All you have to do is run and press triangle. It's really, really broken. And now, of course, the quickest way to open, or the actual proper procedure to open any door in the Yakuza-verse is, of course, to punch the thing. And it is actually surprisingly the way that you open doors in this place, because you can't open them normally because they're locked. So, we're punching these doors. So, shame he didn't move forward. There we go. Usually, you might see it on the next floor as well. If in these rooms with the smaller enemies, one of them is left alive, especially at the start, you can leave them to Nagamo. Nagamo is usually good enough, to be able to deal with a singular enemy. Sometimes not. And also not with what we call the large lads, which you're going to be seeing in one of these rooms coming up. Not these guys. We'll leave that guy to Nagamo. He's a small lad. These guys are large lads. Collateral didn't hit fully there because I'd already hit the ground, which is a shame. Those are large lads. We've always called them large lads over the course of the Yakuza-verse runs because... One, they're of a larger stature, which can kind of interrupt a couple of attacks. And two, they have a signature move, which we call the dangerous drop kick, because for some reason, large lads can run at you at like 100 miles an hour, drop kick you, and interrupt every single one of your attacks. They also have a mass amount of hyper armor, they guard everything, they're annoying. We call them large lads. So, how many guys does it take care to take care of one Yakuza dude? The answer is 3. Yuta, Takashira, and Matsunaga are going to stay back there. Us and Nagamo, we're going to head to the top floor, to the sauna, to hopefully try and find Somiya. So we're going to head into the sauna now, and this little bit, I don't know if it's like a direct reference or not, but it's kind of a cheeky little reference to Ryuga Gotoku Ishin, the Japan-only Yakuza Ishin, which is an amazing game. So is this lad Somiya? Let's find out. This poor lad. It's not him. So, we still have quite a bit of our attack buff left, which is very good. That indicates how well we're doing here. That guy in the middle there, he has a HP bar, so you know the drill. We're going to take care of him first. Running dash kick, we're going to extreme heat. We're going to obviously use our extreme heat against him. This is the other one that you can see. It goes square, triangle, circle, square, triangle, circle. And as you know, we're going to throw this guy because throws in Yakuza 6 are, for some reason, kind of broken. Take care of the guys with the most HP before our attack buff runs out. It's going to come out to us. Nagamo, if you'd like to take care of him. Okay, kind of, I guess. Cool, thanks, Nagamo, sure. So then Nagamo does something stupid. You'll hear that a lot. Nagamo decides to walk into the actual sauna itself, realizes, oh, it's actually really hot, takes off his mask that, you know, is trying to hide our identities, and walks right into Somiya. Now, an interesting thing about Somiya here, as you'll see, no ink. He is a lieutenant of the Tojo and has no ink. He has a philosophy that modern-day Yakuza don't need the old ways to show how strong they are. They need, like, money and stuff like that, rather than, like, the ink to signify, like... Basically, a Yakuza's ink, it signifies a couple of different meanings. But Somiya feels like the old ways are going out of fashion, and that they should be judged by what they do rather than, obviously... I don't like you guarding that. I'm gonna kick this guy. Cool. But he basically is a more modern-day Yakuza. Doesn't like to show it, etc., etc. Obviously, he's very unique. He's a very unique character because there's not a lot of Yakuza in the series that go for that approach of not actually getting like any tattoo. And you'll see some tattoos in this run, that's for sure. I got that healing item for safety because this is a marathon run. Things can go horrifically wrong again, considering we've chopped our defense in half. So, Somiya fight. So, you're going to see here that Somiya's going to start giving some attacks. He's going to then start drinking. We're going to grab a chair, hit him as fast as possible. We can get in 2 hits, and then hopefully the heat attack before he hits us out of our hand. This will transfer him over to the second phase of the fight. I'm going to try and kick him quickly to get some damage. Don't usually be able to. The Dragon Engine just skips him right over to phase 2. This is okay because Somiya has a couple of seconds of iframes to begin with this attack. So we're going to grab the sofa, wait, and hit. Baited out his gun. Hit him again as he's getting up. Very good Somiya. That is a very, very good Somiya. It's an absolutely beautiful Somiya. So, we beat up Somiya, and then we find that, we find Kiyomi is having dinner with 2 people. Iwami Senior and Iwami Junior. We'll just go with that. Obviously, they run Iwami Shipbuilders, and we learn here that Iwami Shipbuilders is just a front for the Yomei Alliance. The Yomei Alliance, Iwami Senior is looking to do an alliance, and obviously the 2 biggest Yakuza groups in Japan are the Tojo in the east, which is what Kiryu was the 4th chairman of, and the Omi over in the west, which over in, like, basically Osaka, etc., like, if you've ever played some of the other Yakuza games, most of them deal at some point with the Omi Alliance. And basically, Iwami Sr. decides to take this opportunity, now that he's got, you know, the Tojo's ex-4th chairman, to basically charter a deal with the Tojo, because of Somiya being there. And they would go into an equal alliance, both the Yomei and the Tojo, and they would create basically an almost unstoppable Yakuza force across Japan. They'd be much, much bigger than the Omi. And Kiryu basically tells them, I don't care. Kiryu at this point is getting angrier and angrier, and that's a theme of Yakuza 6, in that Kiryu just gets angrier and angrier as the game goes on, and basically he's like, I've been done with the Tojo for years, do what you want. And they say to Kiryu, you know, if you turn down looking over this, we're going to side with the Omi. And Kiryu once again says, do what you want. That's our Kiryu, alright. So we're going to go back to our apartment, and hi, Joe. Joe is going to say to us what a coincidence it would be if we were to meet in Kamurocho, right? Which is definitely not the place we're about to go to. Thanks, Joe. So, Kiyomi has an idea, and we think we know who the father of Haruka's baby Haruto is. We think he's a friend of Yuta's who went to Kamurocho, of all places, to become a host. So, we are now going to go back to Kamurocho again, and it's Nagamo and Yuta's first time in a big city. They've never really left a small place like Hiroshima, so we're going to be doing a quick little bit of upgrades. We're going to boost our heat gauge up to 130. This allows us to get boost heat actions level 2. I don't want this now, sure. And then I'm going to get some attack buff. Might be a mistake, we'll see. There's a fight spawn there that I probably should have despawned, but it's on the other side of the road, so it should be fine. We're going to basically head around Kamurocho for a little bit, showing them the sights. So again, if you've got time, if you've got any messages, now's a good time for them.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had one new subscriber, Encouraged. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Just like to give a general shout out to BSG for supporting the marathon. They are similar to this marathon, but they hold bi-monthly gatherings in the Netherlands. They've sort of supported us from the beginning, so they spread the word, they help get us out there. And yeah, they have their own event, online event, that's happening between the 12th and 16th of August. And it'll be on this very channel, so that'll be well worth a watch. And what else I was going to say? There it is. It's too late for this. Do you want to get updates when our marathons go live and when your favourite runs are coming up? Follow us on Twitter at UKSG Marathon. Also, if you use the hashtag UKSG Summer 2020, you may be featured on stream. So, yeah, that's it's not a lot of donations at the minute. Maybe it's a bit too late for people, but we appreciate all of you staying up at this time and watching. We really appreciate it. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, if you ever watched a Yakuza run of mine for an ESA or something similar on this channel, you'll usually realise that my Yakuza runs are usually at this time of night. It is currently 3:35 AM in the UK. It's pretty late. it's usually prime Froob o'clock. We always joke about it. It's good times. I love this time slot. So again, yes, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for supporting. If you can't support with donations, don't forget to tell your friends that the marathon is running as well. They also might share the same opinion of, whoa, you couldn't speedrun a Yakuza game? I get that a lot. And yes, you can speedrun Yakuza games. They're very much like other JRPGs in that a lot of it is fight optimizations. As you can see here, this is what we like to call bike strats. What you do is you get a bike, and you hit as many people with the bike as you can. Call those bike strats. We've had them since the very beginning. Unfortunately, usually in this fight, you can basically clear it by this point, but everybody is kind of far away from one another. That can happen sometimes. That's down to the randomness of the that's down to the randomness of the Dragon Engine. The older engine, enemies always kind of spawn in the same place, and you can we kind of have ways to manipulate them to going to the directions that we want them to go in, but unfortunately, here, sometimes with the Dragon Engine, they'll go wherever they feel like. It also depends on, obviously, your NPC AI. Nagamo there actually went behind me. Usually Nagamo and Yuta stay in the middle of the square, and obviously everybody like goes around them to try and attack them. But because Nagamo came to me, everyone kind of branched off a little bit. This is Jungi Han. He has one of the best he has one of the best theme songs in the game, which you're gonna hear now. So I'm going to go into my extreme heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cancel that to strong. Hit him a bit more. Cancel out. You can see that the fight's not going to end, because as we said earlier, he needs to go... We need to see his mid-fight QTE, which is that. That's that. That's that. I love that lad. I love his theme song. It's not the last you'll see of him. It's not the last you'll hear of it. I really love that fight as well, because most of the fights in fact, all of the fights in Yakuza 6 basically have weapons and stuff like that. But this is the one fighting arena that doesn't have any weapons in it. So, as you can probably guess, that makes it a really fun fight where you have to basically brawl, and it's good fun. It's very, very good fun. I very, very much love that fight. I really do. Just because it's kind of weird to have... It's kind of weird. The Yakuza games, for the most part, most of them outside of like the mandatory Coliseum fights, usually don't have any fights that are just a pure out-and-out brawling fight. Outside of final bosses are usually out-and-out brawlers, obviously, unless you bring any weapons with you. Forgot to mention earlier, one of the reasons why Yakuza 6 caches its map is because of the fact that, as you can see where all the bikes are, the signs, everything along the side of the pathway there. Because you cannot carry weapons in Yakuza 6, the world populates the weapons around you, always in set places, but it has to load them in, and that's why it caches the map. Because it caches all the weapon locations so that you can get into a fight anywhere on the map. And if you get into a fight anywhere on the map, obviously the weapon's already loaded in. That way, it's literally an instant start to a fight. One of the nice things about Yakuza 6 is that you can actually run around when the fight starts. You know, when the little blue screen of, like, showing you who the enemy is? If that's, like, a random fight, you can actually run around during that. That isn't in Kiwami 2, because they changed it up a little bit. So it's kind of nice in this game that you can position yourself at the start of a fight to be ready to attack enemies, get yourself positioned correctly, etc. There's a lot of really cool things. But basically, Jungi Han told us that Tatsukawa was living in Kamurocho. We came over here to find him, and he's dead. He is dead. He was killed by a man that goes by the name of Ed. Was it Ed? I think it was Ed. Might be wrong. Can't remember. I hope it was Ed. Either way, speaking of Ed, we're going to go and see Ed. We're going to go and see Ed very momentarily. One of the cool things about Yakuza 6, a lot of people say that Yakuza 6 is very unfinished, when it's not. Yakuza 6 is actually got a lot more set pieces in it than a lot of Yakuza games, and a lot of these set pieces are actually quite long. And they're all very unique. We're going to be coming up against the new one here. We're looking at the minimap to see if there's a fight spawn down here. There is. That's horrible. So this fight spawn here kind of glitches its way in. You might be wondering why I'm not taking a drink at this point. Remember Joe? Because, Joe... When Joe said it'd be funny if we met in Kamurocho... Hi, Joe. So Joe basically introduces us to the ability to do Clan Creator here in Kamurocho, which we're not going to do. I'm so disgusted that I'm starting to get hiccups. So this isn't the quickest way to leave the Millennium Tower, but one, it's the safest, and two, it's the coolest. It actually does save us a tiny bit of time because we can then go to this vending machine, grab a CC lemon and drink it all before we get to Serena. No fight spawn around the corner this time, thank you very much. That early Chapter 1 bad RNG is left us, thankfully. So, when we get to Serena, Yuta and Nagamo, Tatsukawa was their friend, they're taking his death pretty hard. We need to get some information, obviously, about Ed. So we're going to go and see the one person that we know is going to be able to help us out, and that's Akiyama. So it's off down to the sewers again. You saw that I have consumed a CC lemon again, so you can probably tell what's about to happen. Whenever I consume the attack up drink, you know there's a fight coming. Not a boss fight, though. And thankfully, we don't need another bento to get the lovely homeless man out of the way. He is not here this time. This sub-story on the right. Okay, that sub-story that we just passed, that is a sub-story called Haruka's Biggest Fan. I know that after this run, the Amon fight incentive has been met. The interesting thing about the Amon fights in the Yakuza games is that every single Yakuza game you have to do every single sub-story to fight Amon. There are, of course, exceptions. There is an exception that goes by the name of Yakuza 6, where you only actually have to do 3 sub-stories. One of them is Haruka's Biggest Fan, because you need that park to be free. A singular hit for this fight is so good. It's usually 2. A singular hit is just, oh, you love to see it. Oh, it's so good. But basically, Yakuza 6 is an exception to the rule of all sub-stories for Amon. You need to do that sub-story, because basically that sub-story being in the park stops another sub-story from spawning, or this final part of this. No, not a sub-story from spawning, but the final part of a setup for Amon spawning. Sounds weird, I'll explain it in a second. And the other 2 sub-stories that you need to do are tied to 2 old friends, one of which you won't meet during the run, but you will meet the preceding sub-story leading into it any second now. We're going to go and meet Akiyama in the Apple Hotel. Now, this time, Kiryu is smartly going to look around and realize that he's actually... There's some people spying on him right now. So, instead of going straight to the Apple Hotel, we're going to deal with whoever's obviously spying on us, and we're going to do that by very slowly walking over to the bowling alley, which is no longer the bowling alley. It might look like a bowling alley, but there is no bowling in the Dragon Engine yet, which is a shame. Hopefully for Yakuza 8 we'll get bowling back, because I miss it. I miss it a lot, but no doubt bowling is problematic in this lovely ragdoll physics-based engine. But we're gonna use bike strats against a couple of guys here. You know how it is. So we're gonna grab this bike on the right. These guys will then get together. Turn around. Hopefully these 3 stay together. Kanazawa here usually walks forward a little bit. Doesn't usually walk back like that, but oh well. That loses us the time we saved from saving that hit in the sewers, but oh well. And then on the way through, we can't avoid this. There is a sub-story here with these 2 lovely gentlemen. Rise Up, which is a real-life gym. Very popular. Very expensive. This is one of the 2 sub-stories, one of the 3 sub-stories that you need to do for Amon. One of the 2 proper sub-stories you need to do anyway. When you basically... We'll get given the opportunity here to join Rise Up, the gym. We're not going to become a member. Basically, when you go to Rise Up and you do their training program, you get a attack buff for your next fights. We You know, it's just crossed my mind. Why have I never used it in conjunction with CC Lemon against Amon? He would melt. Huh. Damn, that's a really good idea. Wow. Huh. Either way, when you do the training exercise, your next attack you have a massive attack buff, which stacks with the CC Lemon. The trouble is, when you do it for the first time, you meet an old friend, Sadachi, an old friend from Yakuza 4 and 5. You have to fight him 3 times, then he'll give you a text, provided... God Taxi, come back to me, my love, come back, I need you! So this is a God Taxi. It's not quite that God Taxi considering it went halfway down the street, but that counts. We didn't have to go all the way to the end. But essentially, when you beat Sadachi for the 3rd time, provided you've beaten Haruka's biggest fan, and Sadachi's just walking around Kamurocho, provided you've beaten Haruka's biggest fan, he'll send you a text saying it's time for the ultimate showdown over in Children's Park. And if you beat him over in that park, then you see a cutscene with a mysterious person watching you, who is Amon. And that's one of 3 sub-stories, technically 2, that you have to do to spawn Amon. The other one you'll see much later in the run. Within the last 30 minutes, actually. It's actually over in Onamichi. But essentially, we managed to meet up with Akiyama. Akiyama has basically said he'll get us into Little Asia to go and meet Ed. And this is going to be our next big set piece. So, whilst we get over there and whilst we're doing setup for that, if you've got any messages, now's a good time.
Yeah, unfortunately, no donations, but I can ramble for a minute. That's totally fine with me. Just like to remind you all, in case you've forgotten, you're watching UKSG Summer 2020. UKSG is the United Kingdom Speedrunner Gathering. Normally would be a 2-day speedrunning marathon held in Glasgow, Scotland. Right now it's an online event due to all the messes kind of going on in the world at the minute. Lots of viral pandemics and whatnot. Currently raising money to support Crisis, a charity that supports people to get out of homelessness. It's a tricky thing to get out of, very easy to get into, very hard to get out of. So anything that can help the people that are currently struggling right now is a good cause to support. As far as donations, runs coming up, we've got Resident Evil coming up pretty soon after this one. I think we've got one after you, and then it's Resident Evil. Got a lot of outfit choices, still wide open, so any snipes you want to get them in. We've still got a few hours here, so yeah, get them in. And also, shout out to you guys for sticking around and watching. Wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have these events, so thank you again. Back to you, Froob.
Cheers. Yeah, thank you all for the support. This year I was asked so many times to go to a UKSG, and this year was the year that I was going to actually go to UKSG, and then everything happened. So that's a shame. So it's really nice that we were able to at least put on an online marathon. And hopefully everybody's enjoying. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. So we got new strats in here. We used to basically stealth through this area, but it's actually a little faster to do the fight. So we're going to intentionally get seen by the chef. Hi. We're going to run over here. There is a little dolly in the corner. We're going to break this to get access to him a little quicker. That was a lucky hit. I don't think that was going to connect. While you're holding this, you actually move forward a little faster, so you can move over to the door. And there we go. So, we're in a restaurant in Little Asia. We're trying to get to the big building at the back by going through this one. Akiyama's going to say don't get caught. Akiyama got caught. I'm going to do a charge attack. It's going to take care of one of these guys and spawn the chef. So, we're going to do a charge attack on him. I'm going to go over here and take care of, hopefully, this guy. It's slow. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Him knocking into my combo is a shame. And again, every time you finish a fight in these areas, you go back to walking, so you ideally want to be as close to this door as possible. You can kind of knock the chef over here. It's a little tricky. Oh dear. Ow. Right, so we're now basically going to be going into the adjoining building via this vent shaft. So there we go, and into the window. So this is the building where Ed currently resides. So these guys are just waiting for their meal, and you know, this random guy in a balaclava just jumps through the window. It's not a nice night out. So we're gonna head up into here, and guess who's back? It's the chef, as always. So once again, we're gonna do a charge attack, knock him on his backside, grab something to hit him with, and hopefully hit him. He does this, he's gonna guard. That's why I waited half a second. Charge attack. A little slow, but still fine. So we're gonna head up these stairs, and we're gonna meet back up with Akiyama, who's gonna help get Yuta and Nagamo onto the roof. Again, as I said, 95% of cutscenes skippable in this engine, not all of them. This looks like a cutscene, it's not a cutscene. I mean, it is, but it's not skippable. Having our attack buff still here is a very good sign. Again, you can use how much attack buff you've got left here as an indicator of how well you're doing. You don't have it going into this room. It always runs out as you get in here, so having it up to this point is pretty good. It's a sign that I'm doing at least something right in this run after the horrific RNG start. So, as you can probably guess, the guy with the HP bar is the dangerous one. Now the Sire Triad enemies, let's start the Sire Triad as I get hit with a table. And the large lad drop kick. Remember what I said about those large lad drop kicks? I warned you about them. I did warn you about those drop kicks, didn't I? So, the Sire Triad enemies are way more aggressive than your normal Yakuza enemies. They also have a lot more guard and a lot more dodge like that. I'm just going to take care of you because you're getting annoying. Hopefully there's a group that's together. We'll go for these guys. The guy in the corner gets taken care of. Hope that guy's okay falling down there, because that's a couple of floors. Either way, we're going to head over here and we're going to find Ed. And we're going to have a lovely conversation with Ed, which is going to go pear-shaped. Now you get to hear way more of Ed's amazing theme. Look at this majestic beast. I love this lad. So in this fight, we're going to give Ed a fear of chains. My HP. Remember that we have cut our defense by 50. And we're not supplementing for that. I might want to have a healing item just in case, because this is going to be very dangerous if I don't. It has a couple of frames of invulnerability cough. Didn't naturally this time. You know what? I don't trust this. Give me my bentos. Thank you. Oh, you knocked the chair out of my hand. So usually what you can do is you can use the attack of the chair to kind of hyper armor your way through Ed's attack. Ed, please don't guard. Thank you. He's gonna have a hit left. Okay. Usually Ed's at 1 HP at this point, but because he knocked the chair out of my hand, we've got problems. So usually I wait a second here. Missed as well. That's unfortunate. Ed is not supposed to be alive for this long. I don't quite know what he's gonna do. Die. Okay, yeah, that works. And this guy decided to guard as we were saying before. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Cool. That was a very rough Ed fight. That Not good Ed fight. Again, just Dragon Engine things where your weapon can get knocked out of your hand. Ed usually is supposed to get a... When we went into the second phase, after we were on the... kind of like the board, the balancing board on the top, you're usually supposed to be able to hit him twice. Ed usually gets stunned, and then you can hit him for a second time. Some reason it didn't happen here. And that's why we lost the weapon. So... oh well. I think it's because I might have attacked him a little early. Honestly, I think. Either way, plot stuff. That was Bigelow that you just saw in the cutscene that had the blue tint to it. He was speaking... Master Zoe turned up, by the way. He was speaking Chinese to Master Zoe and mentioned a word, Heihaisi. Now, interestingly enough, there's a member of our group, Yuta, who actually knows some Chinese. Yuta was taught Chinese by Tatsukawa. Or just a little bit, anyway. And Heihaisi is basically a very old thing where Chinese families could only have one child, and then some of the other children then got shipped out to other countries. That's going to be a point that comes up later on. But essentially the Heihaisi are a very, very important plot point in this run in a little bit. So I'll remind that again later on. But for now, we're going to meet Bigelow. Bigelow wants to meet us because he's aggrieved by certain things that the Tojo clan have done. And again, we're obviously, you know, the go-to Tojo representative, even though we've not been part of the Tojo for a long time. I'm missing a fair chunk of experience. Why? This vending machine, for some reason, loads because I think of the conversation with Sonia. So you can run as soon as you activate it, and then it obviously teleports the drink to you here. Yeah, because that actually skips an entire whole bit of dialogue with Somia that you might see repeated when we get out of the taxi here. I think I know why I'm missing experience, which is very weird considering I've had multiple optional fights. I think the thing that's happened is because of the optional fights, I actually got an upgrade that I wasn't supposed to get to for a couple of chapters, so I'm now just running through those upgrades in my head. And I think we should be fine. It's only the vending machine boosts that are in trouble. We'll see. Either way, we've come to a place called Shangri-La. If you've played Yakuza 1 or Yakuza 2, you'll recognize this place. This is the place that we fought Majima in and broke the place, and then we came here to rescue Daigo in Yakuza 2. Didn't mean to grab that. I wanted to go for the guy. If I'd known there was a weapon beneath me, I wouldn't have tried to grab it. So, big long set piece. I did not want the baseball bat, because again, as you see there, it doesn't break the barricades. You need a sledgehammer, fortunately positioned in useful areas right next to the breakable walls. You can break the sledgehammer on that light. You have to be very careful. Here he is. Here he comes. The real reason why Yakuza is on at 4 in the morning. The local resident of Shangri-La. He goes by the name of Hangman. Why there is a man in full BDSM gear at the bottom of a destroyed soap land is beyond me. But here he is. This is Hangman. He's a lovely gentleman who you'll be seeing real soon. He likes throwing rocks at me. We're going to try and we're going to get hit twice here, and then we're going to dodge the next one. If you fall down, you have to fight him. There is no point to doing that. Good hit. Dodging these rocks here. Get hit once. Hopefully dodge the next one. Get hit twice here. Was it once? It's once. Okay, good. And the reason why we don't drop down and fight him is because he grabs Somia anyway, pulls him down, and this is the proper fight. Now, Hangman is dangerous. Remember when I said we dropped our defense down to 50? Hangman is the first enemy that can pretty much free shot us. Now, here's a fun fact for you. Hangman has a near infinite combo. If he gets us in that combo, we're dead. Thankfully, the same rule applies to Hangman, and we're so very overpowered at this point, he only takes 2 hits to go down. Thanks, random barrel that's down here. So, Hangman headbutts a wall and creates a way for us, and off we go. So around this corner, hopefully we get a good kick. You can actually, if you're lucky, get all 4 of them with a singular kick. It is very, very precise of an angle, so very unlikely to happen. We're definitely not doing too good in here. My attack buff is running very low already, which isn't good. I've got another very much bigger problem in that I need to sneeze. And I'm not going to be able to reach for my mute mic for a second. I am now. Hang on. Don't you just hate it when you have a sneeze that just won't come out? Oh, that's awful. Anyway, sledgehammer. Sledgehammer for this barricade I missed. And also for this large lad with the HP bar on the right. That happens sometimes. Him before I grab a sledgehammer. Now you'll see there at the bottom, Hangman is there. He's on the ground. He's knocked out. And the reason why we want the attack buff to last is for this next room here. So it's nice that I got here with some remaining. For the guy with the HP bar here, Yoniyama. He is very annoying. He's very aggressive. Lots of attack, lots of dodge, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. I got rid of most of the large enemies with those hits. That's great. Take care of him. He's coming over to me. Sledgehammer. Nicely done. Very, very smooth. So, one thing I forgot to mention. Your allies counts as hits in the Dragon Engine. So if I was to hit Somia with the sledgehammer, it would take a hit off. Very annoying in fights like this. We usually don't have our attack buff until this next fight anyway, so it running out here is fine. It makes me wonder what would have happened had I not messed up earlier. Guess what? Hangman's back. Just on the ceiling, as you do. So we're going to hit him with the sledgehammer. Knock him down, hit him again. Hopefully hit him one more time when he's stunned. And hopefully get a running attack. Please do not hit me with that. Thankfully that's not the dangerous attack. The dangerous attack, he does kind of like that, but he like swings his arms over like slowly like that. It basically stun locks you. And yeah, that kills you. That one isn't too bad, thankfully. We're going to drop the sledgehammer because we can't bring it with us, and we're going to head in here to meet Big Lo. Now, Somia came along kind of uninvited, and Big Lo gives us an ulterior motive of show your loyalty, we're going to fight Somia. So, we take our shirt off, we're going to grab this table first, we're going to start the table, hit him hopefully twice, he goes into his next phase, this is where things get a little rough. Wait a second. Somia has iframes. Grab the bottle. The bottle... Okay. Weapons in Yakuza 6. That was a very good fight. Weapons in Yakuza 6. Because it's the first game in the Dragon Engine, they were still ironing out some little things with it, such as weapon degradation. Usually if you've ever played a Yakuza game, you'll know that most weapons have a different amount of hits to them, to their durability. For instance, in Yakuza 0, you have a bike that starts with 3 hits, becomes a slightly more broken bike for 2 hits, and then becomes the wheel for another 3 hits. So, in this game, bikes only have 3 hits. Bottles are one of the exceptions to the rule, in that a bottle starts with a singular blunt hit. When you hit that blunt hit on an enemy, it then breaks the bottle. The bottle then becomes a 3-hit knife hit. Benches are the other. Benches are the other exception to the rule. They start out with they start out with 3 hits, they break, and then they give you another 3 hits. So anytime we can get our hands on a bench, we'll be doing that. Ooh. Excuse me. Yeah, these hiccups are getting bad. Either way, we have heard that President Hirose, beat Takeshi, has disappeared with Haruto back in Onomichi. So we're going to head now over to Onomichi, so if you got any messages, now is a good time.
Yeah, nothing much to report, unfortunately. Just like to say thank you for ESA, the European Speedrunner Assembly, for supporting this marathon. Besides just providing us with the channel for us to put this marathon on, they also help us out with gear, technical assistance, sponsors. So they really do support, especially all the European speedrunning events. They really do support them. And be sure to check out ESA Summer Online, which will be happening in a couple of weeks, actually. 24th of July to the 2nd of August. So it should be a good time. Hopefully there'll be an in-person one near the end of the year, but we'll see how it goes. Back to you, Froob.
Yeah, thank you. The games list for that gets revealed tomorrow, I believe. I can't remember. So we should hear about those runs soon. So if you keep seeing me like touch my fingers and stuff, a reminder that about 3 hours before this run began, when I was cooking dinner, I decided it'd be a very smart idea to burn basically 3 of my fingers. So, slightly painful. Just a slight handicap, that's all. The index finger is the most painful right now. Thankfully I'm not using it that much, but yeah. So, either way, we're now back in Onomichi. Unfortunately, that guy usually stays by this guy a little longer. I missed. So, usually that guy stays by that guy a little longer when you get both from the drop kick. Unfortunately, this time. I also hope there's more Yakuza on next event. I may have slyly submitted a Yakuza or 2. And by a Yakuza or 2, I mean 2 plus 2, aka 4. Not bad hits. So, in the Dragon Engine, in certain places, you're going to get an enemy whose AI can sometimes break. And that's going to happen right here. There's going to be one enemy in this enemy set that might not actually move, which is very annoying because we could really do with him moving. There's also 3 enemies here with health bars, and as you can see on the right, benches. So, as we said just a little bit ago, we're going to be using these benches. We want the guys with health bars first, everybody else is fine. You can see him at the back there, he's just standing there. We're going to leave that last guy to those 2. Unfortunate. Good. There we go. So. So, we're going to head back. We're still obviously looking for Patriarch Hirose. We're going to go see the others at Morino. Bad fight spawn around this corner, that's for sure, so I'm going to just despawn them with the vending machine. Most Yakuza games, especially the newer Yakuza games, have ways of dealing with fight spawns. We usually have certain methods of dealing with them. With Yakuza 0, it gives you a move itself called Cash Confetti, so something within the game itself. Most Yakuza games you can get in a taxi or, like, start the taxi list. You can also, like, get into a conversation with an NPC and it will de-aggro them. Or you can hit, like, a story trigger and it will despawn them. Some Yakuza games, aka the originals and the PS3 ones, they don't have such luxuries. They don't have any way to despawn enemies, such as Yakuza 5, that has a wonderful spot in one of its areas where you can get, literally, a maximum of 5 enemy spawns on one corner. It's the worst. And that's not even the worst part about Yakuza 5 speedrun. But the old PS3 Yakuza games that have been remastered now for PS4, their fight spawns can be kind of nasty. 4's is okay, but 3 has a couple of spots where the fight spawns are just like... There's one part where you have to go and chase a dog, and you've got like a main road that goes along this way, and at the end of the main road that's here, you can have one guy on this side and one guy on that side, and you literally can't get past both of them because, yeah, sure, cool, okay. And it's completely random if they spawn there or not. Sometimes none of them will spawn, sometimes one of them will spawn, the one on the left or the one on the right. Sometimes both of them will spawn. You're getting into a fight. Good luck. Now, this next trigger that we're going to sometimes doesn't load. So when we get to this door, either cutscene, good. Seeing cutscene means it's loaded, that's good. Again, sometimes it doesn't load, at which point you just have to come around this corner and then go back to the door. One of the first and only times we'll be going in first person view because it's a little easier to get around the room. Because basically that table in the middle, you can't see it in third person very well, so we just use first person to get around it. There's a bunch of dudes. As we said earlier, throwing in Yakuza 6 is pretty strong. Throwing in Yakuza 6 is pretty strong. So we found a matchbox in Patriarch Hirosei's room that is a matchbox from a club called Snack Hourglass, which is just down the road here. So we're going to go and see if Patriarch Hirosei has been there. We're going to find out that yes, he has. He did have Haruto with him, and he's gone to Runan Shrine up in the top left of the map. So we will be grabbing a... Fortunately, the fight spawn that's down here is going to despawn thanks to this cutscene. Very nice. We're going to be grabbing a fresh CC lemon from this vending machine. And it doesn't look like it from here, but half of the map is actually blocked off from the top at the moment. So we have to go specifically this direction. Mostly because of this. And as you know, whenever I get a CC lemon, that usually means that something's going to happen. Meet Kushimizu. Kushimizu is one of old Iwami's, captain of the Yomei Alliance, patriarch of the Kushimizu family. We're gonna run into him. This stops him there for long enough to not chase us over here, so we can grab this bike. Use bike. Use bike again for guards. We still have one hit of the bike left. Don't fail the mid-fight QTE or we drop the bike. And I think you can tell what we're about to do with the bike. That's pretty much it. Now, I remember that y'all donated for and met the donation incentive for the Rugby Baby cutscene. That is coming up momentarily. If you're wondering what I mean by Rugby Baby, you're about to find out. We've got to go through one fight before we get to this cutscene. So, basically, Hirosei takes Haruto to Runan Shrine. We all meet up. Even Master Zoe turns up. And we find out that Haruto's father is actually Yuta. At which point, Kiryu is rather angry. And getting angrier and angrier. And, unfortunately for us, a certain group of people turn up. So, Yuta knew the entire time that he impregnated Haruka and just kept it from everybody, and yeah, you can imagine that Kiryu's upset. Masazoe was helping... Masazoe drops the other bomb. Yuta is Bigelow's second son, his Heihaizi. That's why that was coming up again. So, Yuta's now in a spot of bother, because... Haruto, not only is Yuta now the heir to the Sayo Triad because Bigelow's son is dead, but now Haruto's in danger because he's part of their bloodline. Anyway, Rugby Baby, I'm going to mute for a second. Enjoy. This is what you donated for, so I hope you enjoy.
兄貴そうどがしたらいいんじゃ頭ハルトをわしにナグモ坊ちゃん進まみんな町の方へ出ろハルトを頼む얘들아 잡아라 저쪽이다こっちや
I hope you all enjoyed that. That was Rugby Baby. And then a certain old friend turns up.
내가 직접 처리한다. 오마이 한준기. なんでお前がここにくそそこをどけ
Told you I love this lad, he's back. Jungi Han. Now, unfortunately for Jungi Han, we spawn next to 2 sets of benches. Whoops. He's gonna guard. That's why I waited. That's why I waited, so that he'd dodge out of the way and waste his guard slash dodge. That was a good fight. That was a very good fight. But yeah, that's Rugby Baby. I hope you all enjoyed. That's always a good fun cutscene to see at 4 in the morning. So, unfortunately, despite Rugby Baby happening, and despite our best efforts, Yuta lost Haruto. Actually, why have I never... Hold on. Oh, you have to go from the other side. Taxis in Yakuza 6 are dumb, because for some reason, and I don't understand why, you have to get into taxis from... You can only get into taxis in Yakuza 6 from one side, which is the left-hand side. It's fixed in other Yakuza games, but here, for some reason, it's just the left. Don't try getting in on the right, because it doesn't work. I understand why, but I also don't.
Froob, do we have a minute to read a donation?
Yeah, go for it.
So whilst that majestic display of sportsmanship was going on, we received a $133 donation from the Mibulus168. And they said, can't be the graveyard shift if I'm watching from the other side of the world. Best of luck to all the runners and hope everyone's having fun. So with that brings us to $1,000 raised, which is very good, thank you. And they've split the money 2 ways, so they've donated $83 towards indie singing Suteki Dene, Final Fantasy X. I might have butchered that pronunciation. And they've also met the Kaiju basketball incentive, so that has now been fully met. So again, thank you very much. That's a very generous donation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Also, good choice. Very, very good choices as well for where to put those two. Very happy Kaiju Basket. From one wacky series to another. Good stuff. So, we've come to this fishing island because Jungi-han and the Jingwon Mafia have taken Paratype. I didn't want to grab that, which is a shame. Again, as we said, throwing people in Yakuza 6 is throwing overpowered. The trouble is, the Jungwon Mafia enemies like to guard them. So, we're just going to take care of as many as we can. We're trying to stay away from the barrier. That's good. We're trying to stay away from this barrier because of this cone. All these barriers in the game take 5 physical hits to break, but if you have a weapon, it's only 3. This place is a little dangerous. Random shipping containers dropping from the sky, as you do. So, hopefully, yep, Texture is going to deal with him. 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do something really stupid here. There's a very quick way to get down here. It can kill you. Which, if it does, we go back to the start. But if you dodge here at the right time, you go straight down. Fortunately, we cleared enough air there to be able to, like, be safe. But if you do that at the wrong time, you can go straight into the water. Instant death. So, just be careful when doing that. I never am. So, this guy is going to start chucking explosive barrels at us. Once we take care of a certain amount of enemies, then he's going to jump down and fight us himself. But until then, he's going to be chucking explosive barrels at us. So we're going to be taking out as many enemies as we can. These construction signs have a wide, massive swing with damage. He'll come down after the next one. I wouldn't mind getting another one. Also, great thing about those explosive barrels is that they, not only do they hit us, but they hit him and his friends as well. For some reason, these explosive barrels have friendly fire on them. Also, somehow Jungi-han has our phone number. Gonna change his ringtone to his amazing battle theme. So, interestingly enough, Jungi-han wants Yuta to kill Big Lon. We're gonna now go and basically fight Jungi-han. Obviously, as you know, cone on that, 3 hits. Now, in these next sections, for some reason, everybody loves standing around these giant explosive barrels. Now, the hitbox for this barricade spawns in when you're halfway down to the ground. Yes, you can fall down and have that spawn in the explosive barrels take it out, but if you mess your timing up by less than half a second, the explosion can kill you. Because again, us and our 50 defense. I don't like that you kicked me. That's unfortunate. Okay, took care of everyone. That's good. As we said earlier, throws in Yakuza 6 are stupidly overpowered. They're really, really good in a lot of situations. Usually you can drop kick them and take the gun and use that instead, but if you mess up, throwing enemies is really, really strong. Here's like 20 dudes all standing around a giant explosive tower. Yeah. Secondary explosion kills another set of enemies in that cutscene, which means that the guys with the guns have now dropped their guns. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4. Please. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want to get up here, hopefully before our attack buff runs out. This guy can sometimes throw an explosive barrel at himself. He can also very rarely throw an explosive barrel at that barricade and instantly blow it up, but it's very rare. Oh, they despawned again. So usually there's 3 explosive barrels up here. Those explosive barrels, you can basically use them. Ignore that. You can basically use those explosive barrels as long as you've got extreme heat and as long as you don't hit him with the last hit outside of extreme heat. Because those barrels on the 3rd hit will explode and they will hurt you. Not dead, by the way. He's actually not dead. He's actually down here breathing. You can see him on the left here. He's genuinely breathing. You can look at him and he's breathing. He's fine. Kiryu doesn't kill, by the way. Anyway, we catch up with Jungi Han to get Haruto back, and Jungi Han confirms that Tatsukawa was the one that hit Haruka in the car. It was a sheer accident. And one last fight against Jungi Han in this amazing fight theme. So we're going to run over here, grab one of these pallets. The other one's going to break, sadly. It's very rare not to have that break. Grab this coat. Sure. You can see that Jungi Han starts in his heat mode, so he's obviously already got expanded defense, etc. So just a straight fight. It's a quick, sweet kill him. You know what? I'm going into my extreme heat. Get out of there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you're wondering why I'm counting as well, with the extreme heat, there is a certain amount of punches you can get in. That's unfortunate. Before the extreme heat attack actually, like, attacks. Bad Jungi Han fight. Oh well, never mind. Never mind. But yeah, essentially, like, the way extreme heat works in this is that you start off, base level extreme heat is 4 light attacks, and it goes into the heat rush, the pummel attack, at which point you'll either get one of the extreme heats, which is either like the face punch or the square triangle circle combo, or, and that's going to happen a lot with bosses from this point on, instead they will guard, and you won't actually be able to do the attack until you do another heat flurry. What you can do, and what I like to do a lot, is switch it out with a strong, because most of the time, it's not ironclad, but most of the time, a strong attack won't be guarded against. That's not an ironclad rule. Sometimes they'll just guard it anyway, because that's how Yakuza 6 works. But I got a upgrade earlier that changes the 4 hits to 8 hits, only because I'm much more used to that than trying to stick it at 4 hits. So, in this chapter, Yuta's going to be an idiot. So, Yuta's now realizing, you know, whoa, it's his son. I should probably be a good dad. So, we're going to head back to Kamurocho. Yuta wants to go and talk to Bigelow. He wants to basically say to Bigelow, you know, I might be your only son left, but, you know, Haruto has no part of this. I don't want any part of this. I'm not going to inherit the Saiyo Triad from you. The Saiyo Triad have certain rules in place, certain blood rules, where obviously the next in kin has to take it, no exceptions. Otherwise, the current head gets, you know, assassinated. That's, you know, okay. as you do. So we're gonna go to Serena. We're gonna hand off Haruto over to good old Date, who hasn't had a good track record of kids in the Yakuza series, but he's gonna look after Haruto whilst we go and deal with Bigelow. Problem with that, as you'll see in a second once it loads in Kamurocho, and you can see again long load time because obviously different map, has to recache the map, blah blah blah. I'm going to go to New Serena, we're going to speak to Date, and as Yuta's going to go out and get some air. Unfortunately, we're a little naive. Yuta's not gone to get some air, because we find his phone. Unfortunately, Yuta has a amazing idea. He's gone off to Little Asia to meet Bigelow on his own, and he's going to get drunk. So he has 2 bottles of alcohol. He's drinking from one of them, and he goes and sees his dad there. Now, here's the problem. Only one of them contains alcohol. The other contains gasoline. Here's the second problem. Little Asia is made out of wood. Think you're beginning to see the problem here. I'm going to very quickly do a... hold up. First, thank you. What? No defense, excuse me. We do not raise our 50 defense here. Okay, so I'm almost at max attack. That's because I got something a little earlier than I should have done. I do need to drink this drink, video game, if you would allow me to drink it. Thank you. So, over to Pink Street. That's a taxi point. And here comes the one phone conversation in the entire game that you can actually skip. Hooray. And we're going to get into another little set piece. So once we skip this... The next thing as well is skipping this phone conversation actually teleports you forward a little bit. Whereas if we were to go through it, it wouldn't teleport us forward. So, double benefit. Sometimes this cutscene loads in time, sometimes it doesn't. Are we going to get to see this guy getting drop kicked in the face? No, not today, I'm afraid. So, start off by attacking him, grabbing anybody here, bring him away from the lamppost so we don't knock them into it. Grab Sue because he has the most HP here. We want him gone. Everybody else is pretty much one hit away from going down. Hello to the one barricade in the game that takes 3 hits rather than 5. Exceptions to the rule, constantly everywhere. Grab this chair. Obviously take care of the guy with the massive HP bar first. Take care of the life bar second. Where are you going? Where do you think you're going, sir? You can kind of see the embers flying around a little bit, and as we go up here, things are slightly on fire. Yeah. This guy has a submachine gun. You can't actually carry submachine guns in this game, so whenever you kill anyone with a submachine gun in the game, they actually drop it. This is a very, very bad fight. Thank you very much. Please don't kick me with that chair. So now I can go this way and take care of this guy. Guess who's in his office? For the third and final time, it's Ed. We're going to run behind Ed. We're going to grab this chair that should definitely be on fire at this point. And once again, we're going to put the fear of chairs into Ed. A lot quicker than the last 2 times we fought him. Unfortunately, that's the last time you're going to see Ed and hear his amazing theme. Yakuza 6 has a lot of really good fight themes in this game. Either way, we're going to go upstairs. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go and fight Yuta. Because, as we said before, Yuta's being a bit stupid. So, Big Lo got knocked out. Yuta decided that if he and his old man die, no one will go after Haruto. It's not how that works, but okay. Sure. So, you know, we did the Kiryu thing of knock some sense into him. So this fight usually goes the same way each time. We're going to run to the back of the room. I wanted the vase. How that didn't break, I don't know. The vase doesn't take him into phase 2. That's why we want the vase, not the actual stand. Because now he's going to be active in phase 2, and that's not a good thing. So Yuta has a second of invincibility frames again, so wait. Got a little lucky. Because he can knock you out of that combo. The vase takes 2 hits to put him into his second phase, and then it literally just takes 1 vase hit to basically take him out. That's it. So, we knock some sense into Yuta, tell him to stop being dumb, take him and Big Lo out, and then we have a conversation with Big Lo. Now, the reason why the Yome want to kill Big Lo is that Big Lo knows something. Big Lo knows about the secret of Onomichi. Onomichi being the town over in Hiroshima, the other one that we've been visiting. It has a big secret. And said secret is only kept secret for so many years because it has a guardian. A guardian who is protecting its secret from anybody who would dare come near it. And his name is Patriarch Hirose. So we've got to go back to Onomichi for one more showdown with Patriarch Hirose. Now, everybody doesn't really believe it because, you know, it's their patriarch, you know, it's their father figure, you know, the man who saved a lot of them from personal situations. It's hard to believe. So we're going to head back to Onomichi after we have a discussion with everybody. Oh, we're going to go and speak to Bigelow first. Bigelow's basically going to sum up the plot. All of this happening is the fault of one person. You. Jimmy Lowe. Bigelow's son. He was... I don't know if he was the one who did it, but he was the one who conspired to set fire to Little Asia at the start of the game, and then he was the one who did the deal with both Sugai of the Tojo and also Iwami. In that cutscene there, that's at the very start of the game where Little Asia was on fire. And Jimmy Lowe was basically, hey, why don't we break out of China and go to Kamurocho, you know? And then they were in Iwami's pockets. And at some point, Bigelow managed to overhear the secrets of Onomichi. He doesn't know what it is. Nobody knows what it is outside of the Iwamis, aka the Yomei Alliance, and not even Hirose knows. Not even the guy who's guarding it knows. So, Bigelow gives us a SD card. On that SD card is a codex, is a cipher. We are going to go to Onomichi and work out just what this code is. So whilst we go back to Onomichi, if you've got any messages, now's a good time.
And no donations as of yet. I'd just like to remind everyone that all donations made during this marathon are going to Crisis. They are a charity organization trying to help the homeless. They are offering support, advice and courses for homeless people in 12 areas across England, Scotland and Wales. They help homeless people find and keep a rented home. They do this by working with landlords to ensure a supply of places to live and giving homeless people the tools and knowledge they need to rent successfully. Their housing resource centre provides information and training for housing professionals. They help to rent a database lists private sector renting schemes across the UK. So, yeah, keep the donations coming. They're all going to a great cause. And thank you everyone for watching.
Yes, thank you all. Oh, are you kidding me? Was that the last that I needed? Did it count before? No, it didn't count before. I need 12 experience to get the final vending machine buff. Also, let's drink our drink before we get into this fight. So weird thing about this fight, this guy in the front here, he has a gun. He's the one we want to take care of first. But obviously everybody's lined up like bowling pins, so, you know, we're going to throw them. Except for some reason you can't grab the guy at the front with the gun. So... oh, I need to hit one more enemy? That was a delayed transition to the next phase. Interesting. So, loud truck. Give me a second. I don't know why that truck's so loud. See that guy who jumped off the truck first at the front? Him, in the grey suit? He has an almost infinite combo. It will kill us. Take care of him before the gun guy. Funnily enough. Now take care of the gun guy. Because as you can probably imagine, the gun guy is going to annoy us. Take care of him who's running from a long way away. Decent fight. Okay, now I'll get my vending machine buff. Thank you very much. Where are we? There we are. And that is the last upgrade that we need. I don't think I fully explained it earlier. The vending machine buffs that I've been getting. One, extend the duration of every drink we take. So our CC Lemon will now last longer. And also, every single one increases its effects by a certain amount. I believe it's an extra 10% per level. I might be a little wrong on that. But it's pretty good. So the Hirose family are taking it pretty hard. The old Hirose here is up to no good. So, unfortunately, on Nagamo here, just can't accept it. So, we're gonna fight Nagamo real quick. After we get knocked down to the ground and lose our flower pot, which is a shame because I needed that. Try again. I don't want this one. This one's worse than the other one. It'll still do. Bad fight so far. So gonna run over to this scooter, as you know from earlier. Yeah, that's about how much damage they do. You're done. You can go down now, thank you. And here comes some of the Yone Alliance. So Nagamo is now seeing a bit of sense, you know, after we shove a giant electric scooter in his face. So we're going to deal with these guys. As you can see, there's another group going around the corner. If they can stay together, sometimes you can get them with a singular drop kick, but not this time. Nice try, Nagamo. That's... I respect the attempt. Anyways. With that, this is the code that Bigelow gave us. We now have to gather info on the code. So the game doesn't spell it out to you, but the hints are there, and there is an NPC that tells you what it is. Before I actually say anything else, remember when I was saying earlier about the Amon fight, how there is a third/second sub-story to do? It's this guy. If you've ever played Yakuza 4 or 5, you'll recognize him. His name is Saigo. Once you do Saigo, much like Sadachi, once you do Saigo, he'll have a cutscene at the end where there will be a mysterious figure who is Amon. Now, we're going to go around Onomichi. There are 9 poem stones in total. We need to read each of those poem stones to be able to find out where the location we need to go is for the secret of Onomichi. I guess it's time to talk about the fixer. So, behind the scenes, there is a very, very high-profile person, long thought dead, we may or may not be going to his grave, who essentially runs everything. Now, the secret of Onomichi is a very, very big political bargaining chip. You'll see it eventually. And the fixer doesn't want that bargaining chip to be seen at any costs. Hence why the Iwamis are trying to hide it, and hence why they have Hirose basically guarding it. Patriarch Hirose is guarding it for the Iwamis because as a young kid he almost died to the Iwamis, to some of their lackeys when he kind of broke into like their shipbuilding place, but Iwami Senior himself actually saved him. And then the whole big backstory happened. Hirose and his anarchy. His anarchy basically was killed by Iwami to kind of keep his mouth shut about the secret of Onomichi. And then Iwami was just like, you know, will you do this without ever knowing what the secret is? Like, don't ever ask. I'll never tell you. Will you do this? And Hirose, because of the debt that he owes, said yes. Hence why Hirose is looking after the secret of Onomichi when he doesn't even know what it is. No one knows what it is. So we're going to carry on going around Onomichi, grabbing some poem stones. The shrine there, to the right, where we fought Jungi-han earlier, the second time, that has probably the most unfortunate fight spawn in the run. There's usually going to be a fight spawn when we go in there. It can go one of 3 different ways. It can be far back and come towards us, it can be close and come towards us, or it can be right there, moving away, which is the best fight spawn because it allows you to get to the poem stone. Absolutely perfect. Genuinely perfect. Could not ask for a better fight spawn. If either of the other two are walking towards you, if it's the closer one, you'll always get into a fight. If it's the further one, you have a small window to be able to read the poem stone before a fight. So this is one of those times where a God Taxi would be great, but not straight away because there is a poem stone we have to read right here. But if there was a god taxi lined up there, it would have been perfect because we could have taxied down to the bottom road. But nope. Now, if we've done everything right, the next poem stone we go and read should be the last one. That's a fight spawn. Usually I use the vending machine that's next to them to get a fresh drink, but we're gonna have to avoid them and just carry on. We do have enough sprint, and there is another one I can get on the way if there's a problem. It's fine. Yep, checked all 9s, that's how you know you've done it right. So we're now gonna head back to the office. We're gonna speak to everybody with the names of the authors and certain words in the position they come in the poem stones, and it is going to lead us to the graveyard that's in town. More specifically, Yamano Dodai's grave. Now, the Dragon Engine is not without its problems sometimes. This should be fine, hopefully. If I am in a fight, and I mean in an actual fight, not having the aggro here, but inside the fight, going into this next story trigger, there's about a 40% chance the game can crash. Fortunately, Yakuza 6 has autosaves. We're good. It's only usually when you're in the fight itself. First time it ever happened was during a live marathon. Good times. But it's one of those weird things. There's a couple of those like that in every Dragon Engine game. There is one like that in Yakuza Kiwami 2 when, ironically enough, you go to Shangri-La. That's a fight spawn. Okay, bye. There's one in Yakuza Kiwami 2 when you go to Shangri-La. There is one in Judgment when you're in the finale. And a reminder, that's 6 hours in? So you can literally lose the run 6 hours in. That's happened, like, twice to me, and it's very painful. Very, very painful. So, yeah. Good times. Anyway, Hirose, or the thing in the grave, is leading us to a shipyard on one of the small fishing islands. So, big set piece. We're in the penultimate chapter, by the way. Been in the penultimate chapter all this time. Not wanting to grab, but I guess I'll utilize it. How did you break on nothing? Dragon Engine stuff. I should have thrown this at the guy with the sledgehammer. Speaking of throwing, you over that way. And then you, because you have a lot of HP. Nagamo, could you stop hitting him? Because I need this guy. Thank you. Whee! That actually hit the guy at the back because he ragdolled out and went super high. So we need to get through this area as fast as possible. So we need good movement. Need it very specifically for one enemy encounter that comes right at the end of our drink buff. Hopefully we get there. It all depends how well we play. So, let's see. I'm not dropping any frames on my end, although I have been keeping an eye on my internet, because when it rains sometimes my internet likes to break, because, as KitKat was saying earlier, UK internet. And yeah, it's been raining a little bit tonight, so I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm keeping an eye on it all night. So here, we need to stay kind of in the... We got drop kicked by a guy that also got hit. Interesting. Try and get the guy that has most HP left. Because that first hit was a very beautiful hit. Take care of him. Nice. Very nice. we're going to try and go at an angle on both of these ladders so that we can slide down and go down quicker. Didn't hit the side, that sucks. If you hit the side, you actually get up quicker here. Been getting too close to that truck. So in this courtyard here, we want to not turn around because for some reason in this courtyard, you lose a bunch of your frames. Always start with these guys. Go over here and grab a barrel because these are large lads, so let's take that first. Whole bunch of enemies. This guy. So despite me saying don't turn around, the trouble is, to not heat move, you have to hold L2, which is the center camera button. That's been a thing since... What are you doing over here? Yoshi? Please. What's it with Yakuza runs and having problematic enemies named Yoshis near their finales? Looking at you, Yakuza 0. So... I've lost my train of thought. Barrels, large lads, it's pretty simple. Can't really tell with my attack buff how we're doing at the minute. I think we're a little behind. We'll be okay for the final enemy, but you can, if you're super fast, as in like flawless, you can have this attack buff last almost all the way to the boss of this area, which that's almost unheard of. It happened in practice. It's crazy how much time you actually save. But you have to be like impeccable with how you play. So we got a little bit of horror here. Some enemies are going to spawn. We're going to take them out. My HP. Again, we took our defense, for those who are late, we took our defense down to 50 when we took our defense down to 50 when our base is 100. So, yeah, we're taking extra damage from literally everything, and as I said, bosses near the end of the game can literally, like, damn near two-shot you. But we need a knife for this. We're going to be able to have the attack buff for the next encounter. That's good. So, this bit is the reason why you need the attack buff. If you're squeamish, look away. This is a little violent. You know, casual kidney surgery, as you do. As you do. That guy goes down in a single heat attack if you have the attack buff. Almost if you don't, but obviously it's good enough to just... There's a barrel behind him that you can grab. So there's things you can do to kind of supplement if you don't have the attack buff. So... if I can get down there quick enough, this will be fantastic. Because there's one enemy that's massively problematic in this next fight. I'm going to grab this on the way through. Its toughness infinity is the best healing drink in the game. We're going to be starting this fight. This guy on the left, he has a HP bar. He is awful. Try and take him out if you can. Shame he didn't go down, but that's fine because he's almost dead. I'm literally trying to take care of him because that's how much of a problem he is. The dagger is good because, obviously, as you know, with bladed weapons, enemies can't guard against bladed weapons. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have the attack buff going into the boss, which is a shame. Texture, that guy's got one hit. Thank you. Remember when I said you'd be seeing more of Beat Takeshi later? Yeah. About that. Say hello to one of the most dangerous bosses in the game. He has a knife. It's our version of a Tonburi. It's Patriarch Hirose, Beat Takeshi himself. So we're going to start with a charged attack and go into extreme heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and strong, because he likes to guard when you use the weak version. I cancelled out of my heat. Therefore, I will get a little bit more heat back, hopefully before this begins. I'm going to, again, intentionally heal. couple of QTEs. If we run backwards, sometimes they say you can see the ghost of Patriarch Hirose. Ooh. Keep an eye out for the spooky Hirose ghosts. Ooh. You can't attack him there, but he's technically there. That's the point where he's supposed to spawn. Coming out into his last phase, he has one more mid-fight QTE. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We do need to see that mid-fight QTE, so Hirose, if you would please. Don't kill me. Please. Thank you. Because we can't finish the fight until we literally get that last hit, and... It's okay, not the greatest fights. Happen sometimes. So the secret of Onamichi gets revealed. And the secret of Onamichi is that it's a rather large boat. You might be wondering why a boat is important. Well, if I told you that the name of the boat was the Yamato Mark II, might make a bit more sense. So, Iwami shipbuilders were building the Yamato Mark II even after the post-war agreement. And basically, it's a massive political bargaining chip. And unfortunately, it's now on view for the entire world to see. Iwami Jr. here kills his dad. Because that's what you do. He's feeling a little unloved. So that's what you do. He does that to also take over the Yomei Alliance. He's going to basically, with the power of the Yamato Mark II, gonna become the biggest Yakuza clan around, etc. You know the drill. You know the drill at this point. At this point, the Fixer also obviously sees on TV that, you know, the secret of Onamichi, the thing that gave him all his power, is now out there in the open. And he wants the person who revealed it dead. Who revealed it? Boy, that'd be us. Boy, that would be us now, wouldn't it? So, he wants Kiryu dead. Which, that's not gonna fly. So, what we're gonna do is we're getting a phone call from Somiya. He wants to talk over at the docks. Somiya, despite the fact that Somiya has like fought against us like twice, Somiya actually has a lot of respect for Kiryu because he was the 4th chairman. Somiya respects the way that Kiryu did things in the Yakuza, even though Kiryu was 4th chairman for essentially a day. And he basically respects the way that he conducted himself, blah, blah, blah. We have to run through here real quick. You can hear that there is an enemy spawn. It's actually glitched. You need to get through that area as quick as you can, because otherwise you get into a random fight. It just teleports you into it. If you can run far enough away from it, it doesn't matter. So, here comes some of the Yomei Alliance. That's a rocket launcher. Always a flair for the dramatics. So we're going to run ahead. We're going to hopefully dropkick these guys. Important rule in this fight. This bike. Make sure you have a hit on this bike left going into the next phase. I don't know if you saw it at the top left very quickly there. The bike now has 3 hits on it. Yes, going from that phase to this phase, the bike actually gets fresh hits. So if you all could take care of him, that'd be great. I will do it myself. Bike actually respawns, but I wanted it for this fight to begin with, because this fight is a pain because of this HP'd individual. But we'll start off by hitting this guy, then we'll hit HP individual. Hit this guy because it's a lot quicker to just run down here rather than carry the bike, and drop hits. Very nice. Very nice. Very smooth. Happy with that. We are in the finale now. We have about about 20 minutes left. But don't forget, after the run, we did meet the incentive for the optional super boss. That's going to be fun. I'm going to get revenge for what happened ESA together 2 months ago. I can't wait. You need to remember with this taxi list as well, every time you want to go back to Kiryu's apartment in every other chapter, it's only 3 down on the list, but here it's 4, because Taxi to Kamurocho appears at the top. Because now you basically get free roam going between Kamurocho and Onamichi. Now, you can taxi to Kamurocho, but the actual story trigger is here. So you have to come back to Onamichi here and say, that's it, I'm done. And that's the last time we come back to Onamichi. That is it. So, goodbye Hiroshima. It was a lovely place. And now we're going to go back to the dazzling lights of real-life Kabukicho Tokyo, aka Kamurocho. And we're going to be ending this story. Haruka's woke up. So we're going to head to the hospital with Haruka and Yuta and Haruto. We're going to go and reunite Haruto with his mother. Then, in typical Yakuza fashion, it most certainly would not be a Yakuza game if something didn't happen at the bloomin' Millennium Tower. So, one more set piece coming up. It's not going to be the end of the run afterwards. Good looking, Akiyama. I love you, Akiyama. So, there's going to be a whole bunch of us. We are going to basically get everybody, and we're going to go after Sugai. We're going to say, enough is enough. You're not running the Tojo properly whilst Daigo's in jail, and also, Daigo's in jail, you're not chairman, get out. That and the fact that they have an alliance now with Iwami. So, you know, we're just gonna do Kiryu things. You know. Grab some CC lemon. Please drink the drink. Don't get too close to the confirmation prompt. If you get too close to any confirmation prompt, you stop drinking your drink. Because it overrides it, basically. And off we go. So, Millennium Tower set piece, as we said, in a Yakuza game if there isn't one. Usually something happens in the Millennium Tower, let's be honest. There's even a loading screen in this game that says usually the rooftop becomes an arena for battles. The place is cursed. So, once again, that's unfortunate. Usually you don't get caught there, but we're in a decent place to throw something here, actually. So as you can probably tell, throwing enemies is the aim of the game here. We're going to throw them at the higher HP guys. I just got punched by my friend Takashiro and stunned. Also, I looked down there because I'm fairly certain I just saw a spider scuttle by. So take care of that guy. Do a lot of damage to this guy. Down the stairs we go. Grab the large lad here because he has no such move away from the wall so he doesn't bounce against it. He's getting a running dropkick. And take care of everybody else here. This guy just jumped down from the top. There we go. These groups of enemies, you can tell we're going straight for this guy on the left. Unfortunately, I went on to the guy on the right. Lock-on does that sometimes. Okay, I'm just going to lob you as well, because this takes care of you. Oh, okay. Large lads. Always interrupting your combo. What is happening over here? Cool. Usually they don't go that far back in the room, but it happens. AI in the Dragon Engine is a little unpredictable. So, grenade strats. What we're gonna do is there is a guy here, and he has a grenade. We're gonna run up to this guy with his grenade. Give him a good old dropkick. Take the grenade, throw the grenade, hopefully catch both of these guys with the grenade. and it takes you straight over the barricade. Grenade strats. Also very dangerous, because if one of those large lads punches you back into the grenade, yeah, you know what's going to happen. So, in here, we're going to run all the way to the end of the room, because these rocket launcher guys can stun lock you. Nice. Ah, bad grenade. Stop that. So, hopefully Akiyama and Yuta take care of the enemies in here. It's clear that they're not. They haven't even taken care of Warner. Don't taunt him, he's not dead. Thanks, Yuta. So in this room, hopefully we can take these guys out with 3 hits, because we don't want to be holding on to anything going into the next room, so instead I'll just throw him instead. So Yuta's gonna do something dumb. He's gonna go ahead without looking. Yuta's gonna get stabbed. So the entire reason why you want to come in here without a weapon is so that you can pick up a new weapon in here. There are 2 weapons in here, a table and 2 chairs. The table is ideal, but it doesn't matter if it's one of the chairs. The table, however, usually lets you take care of all 3 in 1 hit, but Ozaki didn't move at the start. That happens sometimes. AI again. So Akiyama's gonna stay with Yuta, get him to safety. And we're gonna carry on heading to the top floor. Sorry, just checking out my burnt fingers from earlier. That is not good. So this bit is kind of a semi-reference to Yakuza 3. And even Kiryu makes... Where's with the helicopters? So go after that guy first because he has a submachine gun. Grab one of these seats to get against these guys. Large lad first. And then go. Hide behind the pillar because the pillar obviously protects you from the bullets of the helicopter. We're doing okay time-wise here. Our attack damage is still here, which is decent, but it's not going to last. This is a shame. Oh wow, the guy with the knife's AI broke. That doesn't happen often. He's usually the one that rushes towards you. I'll have that. And for safety. We are a marathon. I don't think I need it, but just for safety. So our attack buff's going to run out here, which that's a shame. Usually you can have it for the start of here. Which you can see means we do a little bit less damage. I moved intentionally so that that large lad would not drop kick me. I'm going to throw him into this corner because it won't kill him and I can then kick him, or you know. That would. The helicopter spawns in. I should not push this. A little dangerous. Oh, there's a little trick here if we can get it that can save us about 10 seconds. If I mess it up, it loses us 7 minutes. So, not exactly marathon safe, and I won't be doing it if I don't get the absolute perfect setup. Grenade guy just threw a grenade towards the piece of furniture that I need to not explode. Is it still there? It is. Good. Do something stupid. So, grenade strats, what we're going to do is we're going to grab this grenade. It's going to follow us into the next part of the fight. 3 guys behind us. What we're going to do is going to lob the grenade backwards. Get punched a little. Take care of that guy. Take care of these guys. Not too bad. So, this is where we can do the quick skip if we can proceed to get these two set up in the right location. We need to take this piece of furniture, not them towards the wall. This is the right location. Ah, we missed it. So, what you need to do, you need ideally to do the swinging attack rather than the overhead. You need to swing the furniture so that it kills those two, and then as it's swinging along, it actually makes it so that it hits the barricade as it's becoming vulnerable. Hey, double helicopter glitch. Nice. Only supposed to be one helicopter, by the way. So, here's the thing. I'm going to wait intentionally here because the next trigger can sometimes break if you go too fast. And if it breaks, you go back to the start of this set piece. Nope, we're good. Essentially, if you move too fast there and move past that trigger, it never triggers this phone call. You can't do anything. There's something like that in Kiwami 2 as well, actually, funnily enough, where we actually intentionally have to take a second to not go too fast. So, yeah. This fight used to be the absolute bane of this run, but we've got decent strats for him now. We're going to start with a charged kick. Extreme heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He will block a light, which you can do to position him a little better if you want. Next phase, I still have a little bit of extreme heat, so we're going to roll over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, unfortunately he's mid-combo, so that's going to mess me up. I'm not going to risk this HP, thank you. Go on to your third phase, please. There we go. Almost at the HP threshold. Messed that up a little bit, but it's fine. I should have done a charged kick, but it's fine. Really good cinematography and choreography in all of these. Start with one of them. Go into this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wrong. That was an okay Somi. Messed up the middle part a little bit, but it's okay. The end part is the part that always goes wrong, so happily take that. We are coming up to the final 2 boss fights, so we're coming up to the very final part of the run. Probably less than 5 minutes away, so we're going to go back to Kamurocho. And whilst we're in Kamurocho, we're going to have a discussion with Nagamo. Unfortunately for us, Iwami takes Haruka and Haruto hostage. We're going to go and get them back, obviously. And that's what's going to be the lead into this final fight. So, up to the roof. Yuta's fine, by the way. He was stabbed, but don't worry, he's fine. So, up to talk to Nagamo. Game is going to take us down to street level again, and we're going to get our final CC Lemon. Chug this real quick. And let's end this run. So, as we go in, we'll go and speak to Nagamo. Nagamo is going to say, are you ready to do this? Off we go. And this is it. The final 2 bosses. So, first up, you recognize this, lad? There are only 3 bosses in this game that you only fight 1 time, by the way. And the final boss is one of them. But the penultimate boss, Koshimizu's back. Koshimizu has his own very special award, though. He's the only boss in this game that actually has 2 forms. Like, we're not talking heat mode, we're talking 2 different phases. So, start off by doing a running kick. Kick him again. Kick him again. Give him a little bit of throat. Unfortunately, I hit the thing, which sucks. Basically, I want to keep my heat for as long as possible. I've messed this fight up again. I usually do this these days. This is bad. Wow, this is going horribly wrong. At this point, I might just extreme heat. Kushimizu, come over here. So you don't have to take care of the ads in this fight, it's just Kushimizu. That's phase 1. Bit slow. Now he gets his knife out. Nagamo saves us. Extreme heat. Oh, you didn't attack me once. 8. He usually rushes you. That's why I'm. Oh no. Why I'm a little surprised. That is Kushimizu. One more boss left. That's how you end a fight. And one final fight. So this is the final boss. Time will be on the final hit when, you know, how all these fights have ended. This fight is usually the most easiest fight in the game. Usually always goes one way, unless Runner is an idiot and messes it up. Which never happens. Honest. Never. Not once. No documented evidence exists. So, running kick into whammy gives us enough heat, extreme heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and punch. See that whammy goes down below less than half HP. Upon successful completion of this QTE, goes down to 1 brief hit left. We get a little extra heat because of that, but we're just going to run and kick him and that's time. Just run and kick him to get rid of him. Easy as that. And yeah, that is that. Alright, so I know that the Amon fight got met. I don't know if you want me to go straight into it because I do have a save that can go straight into it. I don't know if you want like to go to intermission or if you want me to just go for it.
Say you go for it.
Cool, let's do this. Alright, so let's get back to the main menu so I can load up that save ready. I will show you all, I'll show you all what we're dealing with here. This is going to be revenge for the ESA run last month, or 2 months ago, where somebody, not going to name names, but it was me, accidentally put him onto the hardest difficulty in the game and wasn't fully prepared. Oops. This one. So, we're going to load in. We're going to do this without CC Lemon, so without a 60 to 70% attack buff. We can die very quickly in this fight. I'm not full on healing items. I'm not full on stats either. I am maxed out on my attack. I'm not maxed out on my defense. I'll show you real quick before we get in there. We are on hard. Not on legend, because again, this save is not legend ready, sadly. I probably could do it, but after burning my fingers earlier, I've got no confidence in myself. So, see, that's on easy. Excuse you. Now we're on hard. You can see that our defense is only at 150 if you look on the right. Our attack isn't even maxed out. There you go. We've got all of our other moves and stuff. Have we actually answered the thing? Yes. Cool. We're not going to take CC Lemon, so we're not going to take that attack buff either. If I fail the attack, if I fail the fight once, and this fight can instantly kill you, then I'll take CC Lemon and show you how easy it is. And I'm going to try and not use cheese strats either. I'll show you cheese strats to start here. So this is Amon. This is the optional super boss. These are cheese strats. Well, not from that side, isn't it? By doing a charge attack and then kicking him away, you can continually do the same thing until half HP. We're not going to do that. We're going to fight him legit. So normally he'll dodge that, but you can actually get a hit off if you do that right combo. He's gonna throw. Oh, no. Throw must be next. You've got your usual repertoire of moves. That's the throw. Cool. I'm gonna show you the tiger drop. If I can. It's a little worrying. You gonna throw? Nope. Tiger drop. As you do. I'm gonna heal. Just in case. Ooh. Because this isn't even the hard part of the fight. Nice throw. Amazing music, by the way. Double throw? Excuse you? You're not supposed to do that. Heck you. So I'm going to try and get the parry heat move off. Parry heat move before he goes into his EX so it does more damage. There it is. So, because we're on hard, and especially because we're fighting Amon, Amon has a lot of heat damage retention, and here we go! You can see that drone. This is Amon's gimmick for Yakuza 6. He has these drones that will help him out in this fight. They will explode and kill us, by the way. I gotta stop doing that. They will also interrupt our combo, as you'll see. Needs to heal. But you can see how much damage he does, because we're not a full defense, and we've taken it down by another 50. Do it again. Right, this is going to get him to closer towards his mid-fight. I'd love to do another tiger drop. Well, that damage I wouldn't. Yikes. It's time to stop messing around. That's going to hit me. Come on, Amon. So he tried to kick his own drone there, which is why he did that. That's the throw. Sure. Ooh, nice. I barely ever get this one. So if you can knock him up against the side of the wall like that, you'll basically get a free hit. Here's the Roomba. Stay away. We're going to need that in a bit, but not yet. So, it's this form of Amon that is dangerous. Amon has a move in this form that will instantly kill me. All that. That's tiger droppable. You getting ready to swarm me with these drones here, bud? Because I'm seeing them. You don't throw me. Away from that. That can cause chain explosions with the drones, by the way. I'm gonna need these Roombas, but not yet. This is the unbreakable combo, so I can't interrupt that combo. So I'm just gonna be very careful with it. I was being very careful there because that kick could have hit the drone and exploded it, and exploded the Roomba. Right, so see how they're circling? Very important. You get a number that circle around him, and then in a second, I want him to show it off because it's terrifying. I need to run away from him so I can actually like get a little bit of distance. Yes, it's gonna happen any second. There needs to be one more, I think. There it is. Hear the beeping? See them chasing? That would instantly kill me. That's not the actual instant kill move I was thinking of, but it is one of them. So at this point, let's end the fight. Away from this room. So, this is the problematic part of Amon's fight. Oh no, oh no. Oh, they're all gonna explode. Oh, I'm scared. So, see how he has this shield on him? That sucks, I needed that. I'm gonna have to do some shenanigans here because Amon won't give me any time to grab a room. So this shield essentially makes him impervious to damage. Not completely. And now we dealt with him. And now we deal with Amon. Oh no. Oh no, don't do this. Don't do this. So again, when in extreme heat, we can't die. This won't kill. Oh, they're gonna explode again. So I have to be very careful because once I'm out of extreme heat, I will die. Now, you might be wondering, why am I not using my extra extreme heat? It's because Amon can actually break through it and kill me. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. Eee. Oh, I hate this fight. Nice counter. We're just gonna drop kick him. I hit drone. That's Amon. That's it. Oh, alright, I got revenge. I got revenge. I'm happy now. First time. Easy. Every time. Let's not count the 3 times I almost died in that fight. Like, I can't tell you how close that was to him actually exploding me. Like, you get caught in the drones that are beeping around you, that's instant death, even when you're at full defense, let alone when I've cut my defense down to literally half of what it should be. It should be 300, but I'm at 150, and on hard. Like I said, we're not cheesing Amon around in these parts. Get out of here. So the real cheese to that fight, CC Lemon, kick him about until halfway during the fight. With the CC Lemon strats and the keep him at base strats, aka the charge kick into like the kicking him backwards, that only takes like 5 hits to get to halfway through the fight. That's it, 5 hits. That's how much cheese it is. And he can't do anything. And you even do so much damage, you damage him through his damage shield. So that's why I said I wasn't going to cheese Amon. So I've got my revenge, I'm happy now. I hope you've all enjoyed this run. I'm going to throw it back to our lovely hosts.
それに俺の命を狙ってるなら近くにいた方が都合がいいだろう。力を貸してくれ。